one. I better not sneeze again. I still feel like I gotta sneeze. This is gonna be a terrible start to an episode if I do. Alright.
Just, it's not the worst.
Yeah. John, why are you looking up? What are you watching Fousey for? There it is. What I'd like to know is just what is this man just wearing on his head right here? I want to know what this hat is. Not just anything else. See, oh, I better come to think of it. I better get our quote unquote insurance going up for this episode too, just in case OBS does puts on me. Last time I recorded, it just cut out to me in the middle of it. I don't know why, but just did. So let me go ahead and let me get the insurance going. See, Craig
Somebody
Butts,
sent me a picture of
what?
Now recording.
What I sent it
kind
to?
of looks like it's wearing a cowboy
Testing.
hat.
Yeah, there it is. So yeah, it's already working. If OBS puts out and we just get Craig recording, you get no visuals. That's what you're going to get. We don't get to see this man. I've zoomed in on him as much as I can.
Go ahead and say something real quick, so Craig Bot will.
See, yeah, there's Craig Bot. Well, Craig Bot always manages all the channels. We don't need to worry too much about that.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. Jenny, you are muted, by the way. Oh yeah, because the box spring. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about Blood Dim Tides. Let's stop looking at Brian Fusey. Let's just go ahead and get into this. Alright. No, that's not what I want to look at. This is what I want to look at.
Let's do it!
Yeah, Blood Dim Tides. This is a fantastic book. There is a ton of stuff in this, by the way. I don't know if we're going to be able to get through this entire book in one episode. I don't think so. It's, for what? While we don't cover it in this, it will be in our Spirits episode that we will do next week. And we'll just see how much we can cover within the span of 2 hours. That's what we'll do. We'll try not to go super long with this. I will upload this episode mañana, and we'll see where we can go from there. All right. Let's see. First thing I want to talk about. Let's go ahead and let's close the song out. All right. How many oceans can you name? Just how many oceans are there?
North and South Atlantic, Indian and Pacific, as well as the Arctic.
Yeah, when they say the 7 seas, how many seas is this actually?
1.
Yeah.
Aren't there like 4 actual seas?
Yeah. There's, in terms of oceans, it's like they split up here. It's like North Pacific, South Pacific, North Atlantic, South Atlantic, Indian Ocean, North Pacific. No, just for that. South China Sea and then the Mediterranean Sea. And then I can guess you can count the Arctic Ocean if you want to. I probably got that list wrong anyway. Either way, it's 7 seas just never made any sense to begin with. Never mind. Alright. This is a book that covers, if you want to have your World of Darkness game take place in the ocean, this is the book you want to read for it, because all the stuff that happens in the ocean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on down here, right? I mean, after all, we've explored more of outer space than we have of our own ocean. Just let that sink in for a minute. Just how little we actually care about the ocean. No, the ocean's got some cool stuff in it.
Quick question.
Yes.
How is a sink supposed to walk?
Well, that's the question exactly. You gotta pull that sink in. You have to be the one to let the sink in. You can't just expect the sink to do it itself. That's what that means.
You said let that sink in.
Yes, you got to be the one to do it.
Oh, that makes sense now. I see.
Yeah, it all makes sense now. We look at this, and you know how much I love the Rokea, right?
Yep.
Out of all the changing breeds, that one is my favorite. Oh, I forgot to introduce the host. Yeah, I'm Johnny. He's Ryan. That's Eden. That's Shani. And we're doing this because Kyle is absent for the rest of December. So we're just going to pour one out for him right now. I'm just drinking water. I don't have any beer with me.
Shame is because he's Fiona.
Have fun, Kyle, wherever you are.
No, it's just he's just got too much stuff to do right now. It's just what it is.
Yeah. Christmas
is a very busy time for a lot of people, which is why we did a lot of these fun fan episodes too. Especially during Thanksgiving. I don't even know how busy New Year's Eve is going to be, New Year's Day. But let's I digress. All right, so let's get into it.
I have next Sunday off. Fun fact: I have next Sunday off, and I have about 2 weeks until January 10th that I have off.
Ooh, great.
So.
Let's see. I'm happy. All right, so let's go down these oceans one at a time. Let's just cover each one of these bit by bit, bit by bit. All right, the Arctic Ocean. What's in here? Just take a
really chaotic currents.
See, just really chaotic currents, Santa Claus, the North Pole's right there.
Rokea.
Yeah, Rokea.
It's cold as all get out.
See, yeah, is there an Arctic shark? There are sharks that live in super cold water, but they're not. This isn't like their main hideout or anything. Where, funny enough, the one that really drove my pulled my attention over was the Nafandi. The Nafandi, for whatever reason, have this massive interest in the North Pole. It's that they believe that Satan is there. I don't know, but it's one of those things where the book throws its hands in the air and says, hey, storytellers, you decide what's here. And, well, cool, but I want concrete answers sometimes. But not just in the Nafandi, but you've got a bunch of worm spirits that are flying around here, a bunch of specters coming out of Stygia, or making a beeline for this place specifically. You've got a bunch of vampires that are convinced that there's something evil up here. Just the Arctic Ocean is just weird. And there's just something evil up there waiting for somebody.
I bet there's a lot of oil veins in the ocean.
There is a lot of oil veins in the ocean. After all, this is stuff that was meant to be kept beneath the Earth, and you want to track it up to the Earth's surface. Oh. But what exactly is benevolent here? Are there any good guys in this part of the world in this ocean?
Absolutely. The Get-Ephemeris.
Yeah, well, the Get-Ephemeris, the Get-Ephemeris. Let's see, where... Yeah, there's Iceland right there. Along with that, our good buddies, the Wendigo.
Probably the Glasswalkers with their submarines.
Absolutely. The submarine Glasswalkers. We will get to the Changeling angle later, but that's really it. You don't really have that many good guys up here. You just get a lot of bad guys. You're expecting Santa Claus, you instead got Satan Claus. There's also this crackpot theory that Lilith is up here. For whatever reason, there might be Lilith. Lilith in her Garden of Sorrows just happens to occupy the North Pole. There's no real evidence behind that, but maybe they're onto something. I don't know. Maybe Lilith is just holding out here. Nobody's ever going to find her up here. And that does make the story of the Murdhuacha antediluvian a little bit funnier. That what Ilias was so freaked out about being diabolized by Troil that he ran all the way to the North Pole just to get away from him. Okay,
we're talking about the Atlantic Ocean, right?
No, the Arctic Ocean.
Arctic, okay.
Yeah.
That's
now we're talking about the Atlantic Ocean. And the Atlantic Ocean, you know where this is. We don't need to go over any major details where this is. So instead, we'll break it up into seas. We'll break it up sea by sea. Let's talk about the Sargasso Sea first. Do we know what exactly the Sargasso Sea covers?
No idea.
All right. This will be your Gulf area. This is everything going off of starting all the way down at Florida, going all the way down into the Caribbeans, past Cuba, and then all the way up to, I believe that's North Carolina before it starts going out into the Atlantic Ocean. I got it up on my screen on the side. And what lives here? What's waiting for you in this area? Well, first of all, sea turtles. This is actually a pretty big sea turtle population right here in the sea. But the big thing that's waiting for you here, Wraiths. Wraith the Oblivion, that kind of stuff. Ryan, what can you tell me about Blackbeard?
Oh, shit, yeah. He owned a ghost ship, didn't he?
Yeah, he owned a ghost ship. This book goes into this big stint about pirates. It's how awesome a pirate World of Darkness game will be. And they bring up Blackbeard because you have to bring him up. That this man killed a lot of people, freaked the shit out of a lot of people with him and the Queen Anne's Revenge. And then when he died and he was executed, he was so mean that he refused to stay dead, never passed on, scared away the Grim Reaper, and now lives as a wraith harboring around the Sargasso Sea. Can you imagine that, like, meeting Ghost Blackbeard, just how awesome of a game that's going to be? I wonder how strong he'd be, too. He's a Wraith. He's got all the Wraith Arcanoi. So, it's weird because none of the Wraith Arcanos really deal direct damage. But it's all about corrupting you and... Well, Wraith the Oblivion, the water kills you. You can't touch any of this stuff right here. Because going into that's Maelstrom, that's Tempest, that deals aggravated damage to you when you step into that. So this man is commanding the ocean like Moana. And he's sending in all this demonic black water that fills you with holes when it makes contact with your skin. That's a hell of a fight right there, don't you think, Grim?
Yeah, we could take him.
And not only that, but he's got, I think, like Calico Jack as his right-hand man. And his side piece, what was it? Mary Dean? Oh, man. Let's see. I'm pulling this up right now.
I'm not 100% sure.
Jack, Mary Reed. That was her name. Okay, I was one letter off. But yeah, they're both here too. They partnered up with Blackbeard, and they're waiting for people to kill in the Sargasso Sea. I'm just stuck on that. Just like ghost pirates. Did you ever play Wind Waker?
No, but I've heard things about it.
It's one of my favorite bits of that game. Well, besides the hassle it was to try to find it, was the ghost ship in that game. Just everything about Wind Waker was just so cool in comparison to the rest of the games. I don't know, just like when Wind Waker came out, that was just that and Majora's Mask are the only Zelda games I've really gotten into. But yeah, this is namely like Ghost Central down here, especially the Bermuda Triangle. Now, what can you tell me about this old wives' tale, the Bermuda Triangle?
There's a lot of things. There's alien abductions. There's ghost ships. There's pretty much Croatoan, where people disappeared and can't be found again.
Yeah, they put now I'm forgetting their name too. Croatan.
I just said that.
Yeah.
I probably said it weird.
Yeah, over here, the Bermuda Triangle. There's the graph I'm looking for. There it is. Yeah, going from Miami all the way across the Bahamas, past the Turks and Caicos Islands, all the way down to Puerto Rico, and then all the way up to Bermuda. This single triangle right here, a bunch of weird stuff happens around this area. Now take a wild guess in the World of Darkness what would go on in here. Shoot me some ideas. Just anything.
I'm guessing wraiths.
Reality melting itself because the Bermuda Triangle.
I don't know, maybe there's a Nexus crawler in this ocean.
I was also thinking maybe what is it called? Mages.
It's also notes that the gauntlet here is particularly low, like lower than it is in a usual nature area, where it's like difficulty 3 Gnosis roll to step sideways in this area.
Really?
Yeah, just because of just how weirdly glitchy reality is just on this part of the world in particular. And nobody in the World of Darkness knows what's causing it. Just everything's just weird in this area in particular. And I would not recommend traveling in the Umbra in this area, given that if stuff is just that strange here, you know that there's some sort of weird, creepy, crawly, super strong thing in the Umbra waiting to kill you in this area. So, yeah, I would recommend that to anybody. What else is around here? Shall we go over to the Mediterranean Sea now? This book kind of jumps around with this segment because we're going from the Sargasso Sea, and now we're jumping all the way over to Europe. Now, I gotta ask you, do we remember... I definitely know how to spell Mediterranean. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about the spelling. Do we remember what lives in the Mediterranean Ocean? There's
Loch Ness Monster.
Or well, that's Scotland. But it's a certain antediluvian that lives here, right?
Samici.
Yeah. Well, he's further north up in Romania, but his partner in crime is further south. I know.
Fuck. Set. No, not Set.
Oh, well, that's too south. Come on. His name is on the tip of your tongue. I know it. I know it.
Not Giovanni.
Let's see. Eden, do you know?
Nope.
Nope. No! All right, well,
Nosferatu?
Shani, do you know?
I am not familiar with vampire.
And Absimilir is up in Russia. No, Lasombra used to live in the Mediterranean. Yeah, this man, back when we did his the episode on Lasombra just crawled into the ocean, into the Mediterranean Sea, just for shits and giggles. And they found all these demons from the abyss in the Mediterranean Sea and started communing with them, and formed Oblivion and Obtenebration, and perfected the art of Obtenebration. And he would just come up here as the Kraken. The whole myth about the Kraken was started by this man, who would just come up, drag entire ships down into the sea, and drain every last one of them dry. And keep this in mind about the Lasombra in the ocean. He doesn't live in the Mediterranean Sea anymore. He's left and he's gone for the mid-ocean ridge. But because of his influence, a lot of Lasombra vampires live around here. Just where I am on the screen right now, going from Sicily all the way over to Israel and Lebanon, And then further over here, I'd say it's like a little bit sketchy around this area, like Sardinia, because you've got a bunch of Giovanni over here. And it picks back up over in Spain, and straight of Gibraltar. A lot of Lasombra occupy this area. Even after World War II, when the entire board got swept by the Fort Camarilla and the Sabbat, the Lasombra still occupy a ton of land here. And this includes the African parts too. But you are right about saying that the Settites do have skin in the game here, because after all, I'm looking at Egypt on the map right now. This whole portion of the screen has got not just the Settites, but the Assamites here as well. Imagine just how tumultuous this region is. This is the reason why the Middle East will never be at peace, is because you got Settites and Assamites fighting each other all day, every day in this area. But what's something more reasonable that lives down here? It's a certain werewolf tribe. Do you know? Play along, everyone at home.
Stargazers?
Well...
Silent Striders?
No, you're close, but...
Shadow Lords.
Starts with the B.
Oh, Bonars.
Well, yeah, because Bonars live everywhere, but I was trying to get to say Black Furies.
Oh,
yeah.
I went the complete opposite way.
Yeah, because after all, this nation...
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. The Black Furies are in Greece.
Yeah, the entirety of Greece is their territory. And on one of these islands in the middle of here is the Sept of Bygone Visions, the Black Fury cairn. And that is the site of one of the most humiliating losses in the history of the Geth Fenris. You're telling me you couldn't handle all these women? You lost one major fight, and it was the fight that you couldn't afford to lose because it got you locked out of every cairn? That's when the Geth Fenris take an L, they take it hard. Usually that tribe is just filled with dubs, but nah, that's a hard L. There is one more group here, one more tribe that is a little bit more benevolent, that got their start in this little island right here, Crete. What other tribe can we think of? Take a wild guess. It's not Striders, it's not Stargazers. They say that they're of Gaia, and they might be children. The children of Gaia. After all, your favorite hippie werewolf lives around this area, and right around Crete. They don't have as much territory here anymore because they've mostly gone off to America, but you still have children of Gaia who live around here. That's enough of the Mediterranean Sea. The Baltic Sea. What can you tell me about the Baltic Sea?
It's horrible.
Yeah. Well, what about it's horrible?
Filled with worm taint.
With worm taint, which shit is caused by the Soviet Union.
This book is set during the era of Baba Yaga, so it's actually split in half.
Yeah, you have
so all the supernaturals can't cross.
You have this entire line going from all the way up here on Finland's border, going all the way down, meeting with the Russian border, past Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Belarus. That's this giant shadow veil that prevents anyone who's considered quote-unquote supernatural from crossing into Russia. Where, can't you just go around the veil? I mean, they never really explain, like, where the shadow veil, like, begins and ends. Does it go all the way up to the North Pole, and down to the South Pole, and then wrap around the planet again, so it would also extend to, like, America, but...
It's implied in the tribe novels with Arkady, at least in the Silver Crown novel.
Well, as we know, Arkady Ice Claw is a very
independent.
trustworthy man. He didn't sell the Silver Fangs for power. No, he didn't do anything like that. But yeah, we'll just say it's the Russian border, just for the sake of simplicity, so we're not overthinking this. And what lives in this area? Now, Ryan, if you can't get this one, keep in mind what this is.
Oh fuck!
It's right next to Sweden,
Selkies.
Finland. It's starts with the
tribe is known for seal clubbing Selkies.
Yes, this is their territory.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah. Along with this area up here, the North Sea, the Geth Fenris just consider this their territory. Just everything here, well, all of Scandinavia they consider their territory. This is the motherland right here. This is where Fenrir walked. This is holy land as far as they're concerned. No other tribe is good enough to live in this area. And if you want to have a ship here, you're going to have to either go under the Geth Fenris' radar, or if the Geth Fenris catch you, you're going to be turned into kinfolk, or you're going to get sunk. One of the two. The Geth Fenris don't play around, as we know. And the Geth Fenris used to have more of a presence in the ocean, but they've abandoned the dream of world domination and taking over the world and spinning across the entire planet, and now just fight and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight all day, every day. And yeah, but I feel like we're missing something with Jeff Rebner's warband out in the ocean. But now that Baba Yaga's...
To be fair,
What?
The Swords of Heimdall kind of made them have to give up all those things.
Yeah, the Swords of Heimdall, you had to... Just one group of racists had to ruin everything.
Yep.
Great. And nowadays, the veil has fell. Baba Yaga died a death that she deserved at the hands of Vasilisa. And now the Shadow Lords and Silverfangs can cross over, but the Gethrimers still control this area. I mean, maybe we can give Estonia to the Shadow Lords, and then that's it. And, well, that's it with this area. Alright, what else is here? We're going to jump all the way back over, back across the world. See, this is what I mean by the book bouncing around. Alright, what's next in this book? The Caribbean. Now, keep this in mind. You've all seen Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
Yep.
Now, just imagine what you can do with how I've already said there's a massive presence of wraiths out in the Sargasso Sea. There's even more in the Caribbean. How many people died in this area to pirates and to the slave trade? Take a wild guess. Or
shit ton.
Or modern days where you have cartels making epic videos out in the Cayman Islands where they make a man dig his own grave before they shoot him in the back of the head, and all these ghosts that are harboring around the Sargasso, the Caribbean Sea. There is a giant necropolis in Port Royal, Pirates of the Caribbean territory, where you have a section of Stygia, where you have a ghost duke and everything ruling that area, and the Legion of Stygia are going around patrolling, looking for ghost ships ruled by specters to get into naval combat with. It's so cool, dude. I love this book. Just that visual of ghost ship fighting ghost ship in this area. You want to play Rage Across Cuba anytime soon? Oh no, we can also do Rage Across Jamaica. Did you see I was shit posting in a server about going to Hedonism 2? And I found out just how much that was going to cost. It cost me $719 to do a round trip to Jamaica, all the way down to Kingston. And then I have to pay $300 for 1 day at the resort, without going into food cost or transit cost. So
I thought you were serious about that.
Yeah, you thought I was serious about going to Hedonism 2.
Well, dude, I can never tell when you're joking or not. It's
Oh man, like I'm gonna go down to Jamaica and go and pay 2 bulls to spit roast me. That's what I'm gonna do.
Jesus.
Oh wow.
That's what Nick Rokea did with his wife. He paid 2 men to fuck his wife while he washed in the corner because he's got ED. I
heard about that.
And he left his 5 kids at the house when he did that.
Oh yeah.
It's a sign of a responsible father. Okay. That man's gonna go to prison any day now. I don't. Has the sentence been sent yet? I ain't looking this up in the middle of the episode.
I don't think the trial has been set yet.
Oh no, the trial has happened.
Oh okay.
Yeah. Let's see. What's next? The Persian Gulf. Let's see what's over here. All right. Take a wild guess as to what country this is next to. Take a wild guess.
Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iran,
Iraq,
Kuwait.
A certain war happened here about 30 years ago, where
Multiple.
Yeah, it was said to be the 3rd strongest army of the world was taken out in 72 hours, or something along to that effect. But and then a whole bunch of games and media were made about it. But yeah, Iraq and Iran. Take a wild guess as to what vampire clan occupies this area. Just
Silent Striders?
No,
sorry, you said vampires.
Yeah, vampires. Assamites, right? Yeah.
Yes.
This entire
set.
Yeah, this entire. Well, you get a set type that wants some bully, like nosy his way in here, and then he gets murked and eaten by the Assamites. But really, there's nothing that crazy that happens around the Persian Gulf. It's the book spent more time talking about the Gulf War than it did about what lives in the Persian Gulf. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Assamites have this area completely under control. That nothing else gets in or out from here. All right, and what is next? The Australian coast.
I will be right back.
Let's see, where are you going? And let's see here, Australian Ocean. Let's check this out. Well, I'm getting pictures of oceans in Australia. Besides, fuck it, we can just pull up an entire picture of Australia. All right, what lives here? What changing breed?
Mindworms.
What?
I was going to say mindworms. You know, the ones in the
The penis snake.
breed book.
Yeah.
No. The mindworms from the Rokea book comic.
Well, yeah, they do live here, but you also just said the Rokea, where
Yep.
this entire nation is surrounded by Rokea. Nothing gets in or out without the Rokea knowing about it. And what other changing breed? The Macaulay also occupy this place. And the Rokea and the Macaulay are doing okay for themselves in this area. Granted, Rage Across Australia, that is a super bleak book. So there's a lot of stuff going on inland, but out in the ocean, not that much to worry about. Speaking of which, I need to see about vacationing over in Australia. I'm looking at these pictures. Ooh. Now, it better not cost me as much as it cost me to go to Hedonism 2, but let's see, going about... Just why does Australia gotta look so pretty for? Damn it. Is the Great Barrier Reef still at risk, too? Let's see. Because it goes off on a tangent about the Great Barrier Reef. Is the Great Barrier Reef dying?
Seesawing.
It's not dead, but it's in poor health and faces many threats. Like everybody's favorite scapegoat. You got pollution, you got Coast Guard development, you got the government sucks. So the Great Barrier Reef,
giant starfish with thorns too.
Oh yeah, the crown of thorn starfish.
Sounds kind of like a wormish creation, if you ask me.
Yeah, everyone, just take a look at just how creepy this thing looks. It's so sick looking too. They made they made 2 Pokemon based around this thing in particular. Yeah, just pull it up. See, if you're playing your Werewolf the Apocalypse game, and all of a sudden your storyteller says, "This is what we're fighting for this session." What is this? Did somebody make a big top version of it? Ooh, that's kind of creative. And so there you go. That's what's waiting for you in this area. Just find the starfish and kill it. If we had a shape-changing starfish, what would it even look like? See, a starfish monster.
Kind of like Starro from the Suicide Squad movie.
I'm gonna type in starfish monster. I'm gonna see what comes up. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to come up. There he is. Just starfish monster. This isn't as creative as I thought was going to be. Damn it. Forget it. Wasn't there like some sort of like that thing right there, the zombie starfish, where they like pull off their own arms to reproduce, and they're all diseased and shit. Yeah, it's creepy. This is just weird. It's just a weird creature to exist. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. And what other ocean is there? Well, that's really it for the Indian Ocean. You want to talk about Japan? See, let's go down to Japan.
Yes, please.
I want to talk about Japan. Now, for whatever reason, Ryan.
Yes, talk about Japan. Japan is always good.
For Japan. Now, for whatever reason, Japan is the most peaceful place in the world of darkness. Nothing happens here. Like, even the Kuei Jin around here are nice. Where, what happens in Japan you have the Samebito, the Japanese Rokea that have this entire land surrounded. Nothing gets into Japan without the Samebito approving it. And if anything
I figured it was the Samebito.
And if anything tries to invade the Samebito, board the ship and kill everybody on board. And behold, nothing bad happens here. You've got the Kitsune here. You've got the Tremiro on their best behavior. The Kuei Jin aren't starting anything in Japan. You've got Kuei Jin Yakuza fighting Kuei Jin triads. And the Jade Emperor, Qin Shi Huang, who has died and become Yu Huang, he himself is stopping Stygia from invading Japan. The forces of Stygia are not allowed inside Japan. On top of that, you've got the Akashic Brotherhood that basically control the entirety of Okinawa. Just now, it's not even on the map. It's just everything beyond, down south of this area, Nagasaki, and nothing bad ever happens here.
Well, if you know some stuff in real life, you know China's nuclear power plants release enough radiation every single day individually into the water That's the entirety of Fukushima.
Yeah, so
5 years of waste every single day per power plant.
yeah, so this half of the map is fine. That half of the map needs some serious attention. Stargazers, quit waiting to die in Tibet. Get on this. You can always call the Stargazers the most useless werewolf in the world to handle everything. Alright, what's next here? The Philippine Sea, with this massive island. Let me type in Philippine Sea garbage island. Let me put my water bottle down. Let me get the cap back on this. So yeah, type in.
To be fair, the garbage island is actually just a whole bunch of microplastics.
There it is. There it is. You just pull up pictures of, like, shit in the Philippines. See, plastic trash from saturated economy chokes Philippine seas. Look how disgusting this beach is, bruh. Ugh. Why do you live like this?
You have a picture of the Ganges in India?
There it is, the Ganges. You pull up, see, Ganges, India. You also got, like, the streets of New Delhi. Yeah, there we go, and everybody wants to take a bath out in the middle of this water. It's just filled with garbage. Everybody wants to do their laundry in this. You come out in your shirt and it smells like shit. This is
What do you mean?
This is the right kind of stuff you want to do. Don't put your face in this. Oh my god.
Can't be worse than still water.
Yeah, see, you want to talk about, like, all this, like, pollution shit going on in America? You go over to Asia and with this shit. Go bother somebody in Asia with this. But yeah, in the Philippine Sea, what's waiting for you in here? Just what in the world of darkness is waiting for you here? Take a wild yes. Take a wild yes. Is it?
Jin?
Yeah. Well, you got Kuei Jin because you got, I don't know, like Hong Kong and Taiwan and the Macau and the Manchus right over there. And then you go further south and there's what? Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, all this fun shit. But I'm thinking stuff more along the lines of what is both creepy and crawly waiting for you beneath the water. More Rokea. The Rokea have this entire place dead to rights as well.
Well,
And
I wouldn't say the Rokea is creepy crawly.
Yeah, creepy and crawly. Have you talked to the Rokea at least recently? Have you
Have you seen the balefire sharks?
You heard the shit that comes out of their mouth? They're thinking at Sim saying, they look like food. They smell like food. Let's eat the food. Come on, let's just go ahead and eat the werewolves. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. Their comic, the comic they have in their clan book is them raiding a ship and just killing werewolves just for the sake of doing so.
Well, to be fair, one of them got possessed and attacked them.
Yeah, only one got possessed. You could have cleansed that man. You could have exorcised him. Instead, you killed him.
They didn't know he was possessed, so they just thought, oh, just kill them all.
Yeah, just kill them all.
That's just how simple their mind
just
is.
Kill them all. Just do it. You also got a bunch of Macaulay that live around this area too, but nobody too special or too important that lives in this area. And except for the individual oceans. Now, sir, what else lives around here? What else you gotta look out for? The Mariana Trench, which is now the permanent residence of Lasombra. Now,
you remember that joke I said, Johnny, way back when?
Tell me the joke again. Tell everybody.
That, according to the Rokea, Coral is deep down in the Marianas Trench.
He is, and he's becoming one with Lasombra. So Lasombra is...
Oh no, the joke is that
What?
If the Marianas Trench is the deepest part of Gaia,
yeah,
would that mean the worm is inside of Gaia?
Ah, you pervert! You fucking pervert! The reason why Lasombra is in the Mariana Trench is because he wants to die. He's in the Mariana Trench because he wants to die. But he also believes that the gate to the abyss is somewhere in this trench. If he just pushes his face hard enough into the trench, maybe he'll find the portal that will lead him into the abyss. And if he goes there, good. If he stays there forever, that's going to be a good thing. Just please go into the abyss already and leave all of us who want to live alone. That'll be the best thing that you could possibly do. But what else is here too? Him being in the abyss has led to other groups like the Nafandi believing that there's demons in this abyss as well. And so they're also trying to do what Lasombra's doing by becoming one with the abyss and putting their face deep down into the abyss. Because there's something creepy waiting for you at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. We just gotta find out what's in there. Is the whole thing. And
even non-supernatural stuff. There's like giant animals / aquatic life down there.
Yeah, because we still haven't explored that entire ocean. There's still stuff waiting for us down there. One detail I forgot to mention. Ryan, you might be thinking about Blackbeard, and you might be thinking, who in the world can stop this man from going off in this tirade of terror? Do you need a hero, Ryan?
Yep.
Well, we got Steed Bonnet for that, who is the lesser-known rival to Blackbeard, who has been embraced by the Lasombra and is now a vampirate. Yeah, that's right. We got to talk about vampire pirates in this episode. And he has been looking for Blackbeard since 1718 because he swears if he got embraced, then Blackbeard got embraced. But it's been 300 years, dude, and you still haven't pieced together that he's in the Shadowlands. What an idiot, right? He's not the hero that we need. So hopefully some ghost hunter or ghostbuster out there can go and find Blackbeard and get this situation under control. All right, there's nothing to read on page 22 as we go deeper into this book.
Project Deepwater.
Do you want to talk about Project Deepwater this episode?
I guess, yeah.
All right, so let's go into Project Deepwater. Now, Ryan, take a wild guess as to what this is based off that name. Is it Project...
Back.
Let's see. Finding Sobek, right?
Sure.
Let's see here. Project Deepwater. It is a pen text project that is... Well, they're basically trying to taint the Chulorvia, which is this... it's a strange umbral creature that's essentially the Kraken, and they're trying to gain full control over him and use him to help dig a hole through the gauntlet and release him into the material plane and have him do what the consumption worm failed to do. And is it going to happen, Eden?
Maybe it says that they're actually just spreading it.
Yeah.
The chlorine / disease around.
Yeah, he's got this disease in him that they're just spreading around the water. And, don't drink the water in the Caribbean. What are you doing here? Wasn't there, some sort of article I read before, Channing Tatum said he spent 2 hours on the toilet after drinking the pool water in Mexico, where why did you drink the pool water off the public pool to begin with? It sounds like your problem here, dude. So, yes, do not drink the water in Mexico because it's got a demon Kraken in it that's going to make you sick. Where, what were you doing drinking ocean water to begin with? And that's basically Project Deepwater summarized for you. Is there any detail I'm missing about Project Deepwater, or is that basically it?
It's messing with a whole bunch of the splats, like killing merfolk, the mermaids.
Yeah,
it's messing with Rokea.
Yeah, and Shenny, you know all about the mermaids, right? Both the pretty version and the disgusting version. And going further into this, I think that's enough of Project Deepwater.
I'm excited to talk about those.
Oh yes, as it turns out, this is not just a Werewolf the Apocalypse book, but a Changing the Dreaming book as well. Why does this seem to happen all the time?
That's cool because I don't know. Change.
It's because Werewolf and Changeling, you might as well be fighting for the same thing, just in two different ways. Just the werewolves are fighting the worm, and the Changelings are fighting the Weaver. They just don't recognize the Weaver as the Weaver. They just refer to it as banality. But you're ultimately fighting the same battle. There's also a little tidbit in this book about coral cities, where those mermaids that we just talked about, there's entire cities and civilizations in the coral, and you have all these little people living inside the coral that you can go and hang out and talk to. It's awesome, right? And we'll just go with a wild imagination with that. Just coral city. Just use that and go where you want with it. Now, what lives here specifically that's already established in the World of Darkness? Now, the three of you give me a wild guess. What vampires would have a stake in this?
Marine Gangrel.
Let's see. Well, we're going to talk about them in just a minute, but something that's not typically common knowledge. Which of the 13 clans usually hangs around this area? Take a wild guess. Ryan, what do you think?
Do the Clative count?
Well, the Caitiff, they're diving into the ocean to get away from the Camarilla trying to kill them. Right. See, what did you say?
Thin Bloods.
Thin Bloods. Well, you watched us play Vampire the Masquerade, didn't you? So yeah, you're both not wrong, but that's not the answer I was looking for. It is the Gangrel that live around here, not the Mariner Gangrel, just the straight up Gangrel, who, in their life goal of being the alpha male, the alpha predator, and just being among nature, they'll live around this area. They'll live in the mangrove swamps and along the beach and just pee in the sand and bury it. And really, that's all they do. Just the Gangrel just chilling. But the Nosferatu live here too. Now, get creative with this. Now, Shani and Ryan, you remember that we've talked about the Nosferatu spawning pools. And just the sheer amount of havoc you can wreak with that. Now, if you formed one next to the ocean, what would that look like? Take a wild...
I want to say a lot of, like, dead fish and skeletons and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got all these ghouled fish that you're feeding the blood of all the pretty people that you're envious about, and you fed all the beautiful people to your ghouled fish. You've got a story in here about a Nosferatu that fed a Toreador primogen he hated to a tank of piranhas.
Wow.
Talk about just rule of cool is in full effect in this book. And yes, around the beach areas, the communities of, say, Myrtle Beach down to New Orleans, you've got Nosferatu that are ghouling sharks and octopus and are just sending them out of the spawning pools to cause havoc. And it's awesome. And one more clan here. Well, we'll get to the Lasombra later, but the Tremere have a chantry in the ocean. As in, it is beneath the ocean. It's beneath the Atlantic Ocean. They built the city of Rapture in the Atlantic Ocean.
And Enor's probably listening to this with envy.
They're looking at this. You have the Tremere here, and the reason it exists is because magic. This Tremere can do anything. It's magic. It's Mage Ascension shit. And with this city... you ain't never going to find it. This is the city that's going to outlast the end of days. It will survive Gehenna. But even after the withering takes place, we will be just fine down in our aquatic city. And this is also giving me a creepy thought. Ryan, did you ever play Soma?
No.
So, you remember the plot of Soma? Imagine a Vampire the Masquerade game, but Soma. What
is Soma?
Yeah, just... Oh, you know the same people that made Amnesia Dark Descent?
Yeah.
They made a game where you're this guy who wakes up under an aquatic base, and you're surrounded by all these like half men, half machines, abominations, and you're just wandering around, and you're the only person left alive on the station.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's how creepy it is too. It's like it's like Dante's Inferno but sci-fi when you play that game. So just have an entire Tremere based game in that chantry after it all goes to shit. Do the Sabbat do anything in this region? Yes or no? Maybe so. Well, you have these groups of Sabbat that are going around, and they swear to you that an antediluvian is somewhere in this ocean, and they're going around the Gulf of Mexico wasting their time looking for an antediluvian. He's not going to be here, guys. You want to go to the old world continent for this. You don't want to go to the new world for this. You're wasting your time, as the Sabbat usually do.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Let's tone down the Sabbat slander.
There it is. I love the Sabbat, but damn, you guys are idiots. And now, take a wild guess. What werewolf tribe controls the ocean? Eden, you already know the answer. What does Ryan and Shannon think?
Glasswalkers.
Well, no.
Glasswalkers are anything bigger than a fishing
I want to
boat.
say
the Uctena. Ryan, what do you think?
the Uctena.
Yeah. Ryan,
Bonars for small
Ocean?
stuff.
yeah. Ryan, who controls the ocean?
Honestly, I want to say stargazers, just because
see.
they use the stars to map out where they are.
Well, that does make a good character concept, a stargazer, sailor who's in star maps. But all three of you are wrong. It is the Bonars that control the ocean. Yeah.
Oh, I think Eden said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Well, he said glassworkers first. But
I said glasswalkers for the big stuff.
the glassworkers for the money. It's the Bonars that have formed like drift city cairns out in the middle of the ocean that they're occupying.
That would be cool.
Yeah. And you have an entire city that's like
Cool.
like a city built out of garbage that's floating in the middle of the ocean. And they made Garbage Island. And they've gone around and they've managed to get this because a bunch of kinfolk and by extension Bonar agents are stevedores and sailors that have gotten jobs, and they work with the Union, and they got all the contract they wanted for after that guy said he was going to destroy America by striking for 3 weeks. And thanks to that, all the Bonars got to the ocean before any other tribe did. Granted, they didn't really explore it the same way that the Gefimmers or the Shellords did, but they're the only ones that had the harebrained scheme of just going out and setting up cairns in the middle of the ocean. So, yeah, they have all this stuff. Like, same thing with, like, crashed ships. Some places underneath the ocean, but they're able to convince the spirits of the water to help them swim down to the ocean floor and set up bases there. Now, the Glassworkers are the other tribe that occupy the ocean, but they only ever use it for commerce. They don't have any major cairns around this area. They just use it to send their stuff from point A to point B, ultimately.
I'm thinking, isn't there a Glasswalker cairn in Hong Kong?
There's a
that,
massive
like,
one.
Focuses on commerce.
Yeah, that place makes mucho dinero. And in terms of other changing breeds, nobody messes with the ocean besides the Rokea. We'll get more detail about the Rokea. I would love to talk about the Rokea again, but I gotta temper myself.
Yes, because
I think the ratkin might, but that's because rats are often on ships.
Oh yeah, because the whole like ratkin pirates shtick. Yeah.
Oh, not even that. I just mean because there's a bunch of rats on ships. That's how they get around. Yeah. And then there's also cats as well.
The Ratkin River. There are 6 million rats in Paris, and for every 100 rats, there's 1 ratkin. So there's absolutely there's ratkin on those ships.
Yeah. And what's the name of that bastet that's like house cat sized?
The Silicon. Yeah.
Those might be on ships too, just because there's rats.
Mm-hmm. You pay the bastet to hunt the rats off of your ship. Alright. See, now take a wild guess. Well, I should probably mention this now. Actually, no, let me hold off for another segment. Alright. The mages. Now, what mage convention do you think, tradition do you think has a big interest in the ocean? Let's see.
Nefandi and Dream Speakers?
Well, no, the Nefandi are their own thing, but surprisingly, no with the Dream Speakers. You have Polynesian Dream Speakers, but that's it, really. That's the one space they hang out. Because, funny enough, the first group they bring up in this book are the Order of Hermes, where they have a chantry in the middle of the ocean. It is this... Oh, God, help me with this name. The Verdicius?
Verdidius.
Okay, thank you. As it is this, like, millionaire yacht that they have out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that sells from coast to coast. And all the Order of Hermes hang around there and do what you do on a ship with a bunch of bros. You gamble, you drink, you have concerts. It's a fun time. You get to throw around your money on that ship. It's not fair. The Order of Hermes has all this money and nobody else does. I swore the Verbena would have something here, but the Verbena don't. They're not mentioned in this book once. What the fuck? The other group that's hanging around here is the Sons of Ether, that have the Ahab's Ghost, where they're here to do crimes in international water. They're just out here to do experiments, and as the Aetherites do, they just do science for the sake of science. And that's it, your entire convention with nowhere to go. You also got small groups of cults of ecstasy that want to go out in the middle of the ocean and get high. And I don't know if I would recommend that to anybody.
Have you ever experienced sensory deprivation?
Oh yeah, you gave me the Hunter Biden experience. And
you just go down so far down that there's no stimulus whatsoever.
There it is. What are you going to see during that kind of trip?
Anglerfish.
Anglerfish. Purple
the demon
anglerfish.
spawn that they are.
And
just anglerfish in general.
There it is. The Clockwork Elves and the anglerfish. That's what's waiting for you down there. And then, of course, we talked about the Akashic Brotherhood and how they control all of Okinawa. Now for the crazy part. So you remember Project Deepwater we just talked about? It turns out the technocracy fund that because they think it's funny. And they're also using it for their own interest because that disease that's being generated by the Kraken monster, the progenitors are making you're collecting samples of that virus in order to help craft other weapons like bioweapons, and they're using it to build stronger medicine that will survive this giant super bacteria that'll show up out of nowhere one day. But besides them, you've got Iteration X that hangs around here too, where they have this entire base in Florida where they're building warships. Now that's suspicious, isn't it? Why is Iteration X making all these warships in the middle of Florida? Why do you need a destroyer class warship as your chancery down there? And then
developing technology.
So you got an idea, Ryan?
Because why not?
Because why not? You're at Snacracy, you got money, you might as well spend it. And then the New World Order has this. Oh, what was that planet called in Star Wars Episode 5? Bespin? The Cloud Planet? Is that right? I think that's right.
I think so.
But they have an entire Bespin base right above that base in Florida where they create hurricanes. Yeah, that's right. The New World Order created Hurricane Katrina, canonically in the World of Darkness. Control the weather, control the vote, control the country.
It's true.
And then, of course, you got the Nefandi, who are obsessed with deep sea operations here because they want to find demons at the bottom of the ocean, as the Nefandi do. All right, hopefully I didn't crush my water bottle right into the microphone. Pop that back out. The Shadowlands.
I didn't hear anything. So.
Well, with Wraith the Oblivion, there's wraiths everywhere. How many people have died in the ocean? How many people?
So many.
Yeah. But
I was reading the story at the beginning of this book, and it's creepy.
Oh yeah, like it reads off like a ship going missing at sea. It's like this ghost connection to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at Wraith the Oblivion. Just how many specters are waiting for you at the bottom of the ocean? The ocean kills you in this game and corrupts you in this game. Just think about it. You've got this massive legion from hell waiting for you at the bottom of the ocean. This makes it scary when you play Orpheus, and then you look at the metaplot of Orpheus, and you realize that there's this massive army of specters waiting to Zerg rush you out of the ocean. You're not going to survive that. I don't care who you are. I don't care what Arcanoi you have. You won't survive that invasion when it happens. Just the ghost armies of Blackbeard are waiting for you beneath the ocean. It's a scary thought, in all honesty. Changeling the Dreaming. I hold your horses on that. We're going to get to it later. All right, what else is here? Hunters Hunted. So not really much is going on here with the Imbued, and the Arcanum and the Inquisition and the American government don't really know about what's going on down here. Now the FBI are beginning to realize that the Rokea might be a thing, but they don't have conclusive evidence that they exist. They just have reports of shark people and shark bites, and that's it, really. And then you have Pentex in this area, too, with their company, Hallahan Fishing. You remember the Gordon's fish sticks? When was the last time you ate that?
Never.
Yeah. Well, good, because that's owned by Pentex. And they're going around...
Oh, dang.
Yeah, because Hallahan Fishing Company is going around purposefully killing dolphins and whales and masking them as tuna, and they're tricking the American public into eating dolphins and whales because, I don't know, they just think it's funny. There it is, just Pentex being Pentex, as per usual. Oh, man. And that's it, really, for all the stuff that's already pre-established. You also have a spirit down here called the Apsere. Ryan, do you want your Apsere bone in or bone out?
Bone out, please.
Bone out. That will be your crustaceans, your jellyfish, and your lobster monsters, who are these gigantic spirits that are on the same power as Jaglings, that are all corrupted by the worm, by Curl. As it turns out,
one very important option, by the way.
Bone in.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Bone apple teeth. As the bone in are your fish, your sharks, anything that's got a spine to it, that are of the wild, and you've got these giant fish spirits in the fight with these giant crab and giant octopus spirits to try to keep the ocean pure and wild. And there's this giant secret war going on right beneath your feet that the Rokea are trying to help you with. And I already mentioned the Shadowlands. There is one more crazy thing to bring up before we get into the new stuff in this book. The Void Engineers. Now, when we talk about the Void Engineers, it's not just outer space. Eden, aren't the Void Engineers trying to explore the entire ocean?
Yes, people say that the ocean is less explored than outer space.
So you've got,
Literally in real life.
yeah, that's what I said. That's what. So you've got this entire section of the Void Engineers that's entirely dedicated to exploring the ocean. And what kind of crazy stuff do they find at the bottom of the ocean? The book doesn't go into anything specific, but I don't know. Just imagine what kind of treasure you're going to find at the bottom. They found the Book of Atlantis at the bottom of the ocean, the Order of Hermes did. So what else is waiting for us beneath this? Some sort
I
of
think the book mentioned in passing, through implication, they also found krakens.
the Kraken. It's not just one Kraken; it's Krakens plural.
Yes, like giant 50-foot long tentacles.
And will we survive those when they eventually reach the surface of the water?
Probably not.
They're also getting into this thing with genetic modification where they call them gangs, but genetically no, I think I messed these up. Genes is what they call them. Genetically enhanced nautical enforcement specialists. We're doing this gene splicing program on people and fish down there. See if we can create the superfish and the fish man. I wonder why you want to do that. It's the idea of mass ascension. Once everything goes tits up on the surface, we, the Void Engineers, will build a city of Rapture and create a giant civilization and nation in the ocean. And this is where we will reach mass ascension, right? So, I think the Void Engineers are onto something. The Void Engineers are just so cool, dude. that is the one part of the Technocracy that I genuinely like. Just the exploration stuff of the Void Engineers. You morons did cause the Sixth Great Maelstrom, though. That's the biggest L in the entirety of World Darkness.
I like them because they get along with the Glasswalkers.
And the Glasswalkers with what are they called, the Umbral pilots?
Yep.
Yeah. And what else is waiting for us down here? The artwork in this book
I don't have a reason to trust the mages yet.
Oh yeah, the mages. After all, the mages are fucking crazy, right? Can we talk about just how fucking awesome the artwork in this book is, too? Because Jeff Rebner did just about every picture in this book that takes up an entire page, and they all look fucking fantastic, man. Oh my!
To be fair, even the most simplistic ones look pretty good as well.
Yeah, I swear Jeff Rebner has a website still. How much is it going to cost to pay this man? Just to make something, anything. Like, it doesn't even need to be for a channel. Like, just for something. How much do I have to pay this man? There's one picture in this book that really puts it over the top for me. It's this picture of the two ferries underneath the ocean that we're going to get into. This pic right here, it's a little low resolution, but there it is. Let me... No, hold on, man, you dumbass. Let me get up on the screen. Just open a new browser. There we go. Oh, it's a little dark for some reason. This picture right here. Oh my gosh, just how, like you said, the mermaid and how she's got the long ears like the Ishu do, and like the scales along the shoulder. But then you've got like the Thalane version where you can see his brain through his skull. It's sick, dude. I love the artwork in this book so much. There's another picture.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Ariel, for the Little Mermaid remake, people actually started putting out images that said she wouldn't be black, she would be translucent skin. You'd be able to see her organs, and it's just like that.
Can we get a creepy Little Mermaid, please?
I think I might be able to pull it.
Maybe I could ask Victor to commission.
Yeah, same thing with this picture here of two of these pirates. Is this Blackbeard in this picture? I don't know, just Jeff Rebner, like the way he like draws like bits and flesh like peeling off of people, and you just see just how nasty this artwork looks too, but in such a fun way. And this guy looking right into the camera with his beard, and you can make out where the hair ends and the flesh begins, and there's maggots coming out of his head, and just how, oh my gosh, this really is just the best guy for World Darkness. You really did just go out and you found the best possible artist you could have found back in the day. Oh my gosh, I'm gushing about this man's work. I gotta find out where I can just go ahead and commission this dude. I need to quit talking about it too and just go ahead and get on it. Alright. Let's talk about the new stuff in here. Now, Ryan, is there such a thing as an aquatic vampire?
Of course.
Alright. Now, what are they known as?
I do not know.
The Mariners.
The Mariners?
Yeah, the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Did you read that book for school?
No.
It's creepy too. Like, there's this version out there with Orson Welles, and he does a reading of it. And it just comes across as just so creepy. But To give you an idea as to what slimy things are waiting for you in the slimy sea, the Marine Gangrel exist, who are fish people. Now you are familiar. You have an image that comes to your mind when I mentioned the creature of the Black Lagoon, right?
Big swamp thing looking motherfucker.
That's what they look like. That is they're a bloodline of the Gangrel, where the big flaw with the Gangrel was you tend to act like an animal, but every time you frenzy, you get a random animal's body part that replaces your body part, and it's just you're just stuck with it for 100 years after that happens. The Mariners, the longer you live, the more fish-like you become. You will eventually stop being human altogether if you're a Mariner Gangrel. And you can imagine just how hard it is going to be to hold on to your humanity if that happens to you.
So they're gonna start. So eventually they'll start looking like Davy Jones and his crew from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah, just how freaky it looks. Like tentacles come out of their faces, barnacles all across their back. Just how freaky that's going to look.
Oh yeah.
Just that's what's got me like excited for doing a Pirate World Darkness game. But I've got Mage 1936 and then the Dragon Ball GT game to get through. Oh, so many World Darkness games, so we just don't have enough time to do them all. But yeah, at some point, we will do the pirate game. We just gotta find a time to do it. But the Gangrel of the Deep, they come in a few varieties. They come in blue. They come in green. They come in brown. They come in black. They come in translucent. What color do you want your Gangrel to be? Can I get this in red, please?
A bluish green.
And if you thought the Nosferatu were gross looking, the Mariner Gangrel even grosser looking. Imagine how weird your voice is going to sound after you start mutating like that. Where you get the fish lips and the big jaw, your teeth jutting out of your lips, and you just can't control it. Now, what fish are you going to necessarily look like? Well, you might not even look like a fish. You might end up looking like a squid monster or even a lobster monster. It just depends on what kind of fish that you find an affinity for. Your favorite fish, you'll begin to look like your favorite fish for the Gangrel. And as for their relationships with everyone else, none. The Mariner Gangrel are just chilling. They're just chill guys out in the middle of the ocean, just doing fishman things, and that's it. They have no major goals. They have nothing to... They're not going to try and take over the world. They're just here. That's just what they are. Just here, and it's just another weird thing in the world of darkness. As for answer of hierarchy, they don't really have one. They have seniority, where the oldest of them, in terms of how many years you've been a vampire or what generation you are, the usual Sabbat stuff, that still stands, but there's not really a High King or Sea Witch Queen or anything like that. There's no King Triton waiting for you at the bottom of the ocean here. And do they go after people? Well, some of them do, but they normally just go after fish. They use animalism to bring a fish over to them. They drain the fish dry. They use fortitude so that they're really, really hard to kill and they're able to survive intense water pressure. And they have protean, where they can just become megalodons and krakens and giant lobster monsters, just waiting to tear you apart down the ocean. Don't go in the ocean. The Mariner Gangrel are waiting to eat you down there. A lot of them are pretty amoral too. Just not immoral. They don't do evil stuff. They just don't really care about human morality anymore because they abandoned human life to go be sea monsters. The Gangrel are weirdos like that.
There's later in the book, I'm trying to find where it is, but I remember there was a unique system for vampires and pressure, like blood, sweat or something.
Oh yeah, there's this entire section in the back of the book
Right.
for mechanics involving marine combat. You remember Ghost of Saltmarsh, Ryan? And it's how Ghost of Saltmarsh is one of the worst books in D&D because of just how much they fucked up marine combat in that game.
Yeah.
Now, this book fixes it. Because there's rules in the very back of the book about how you're supposed to do marine combat, and they work. Where this is what's got me excited for doing a marine-themed World Darkness game. But...
Yeah. That section also mentioned that the Gangrel have found a whole bunch of vampires that have succumbed to blood sweat or whatever it's called. I can't recall what it is. And they just leave them there. They're like, we're not touching that with a 1,000-foot pole.
Yeah, because what happens when a
they
vampire
don't even
falls in the
bother
ocean?
rescuing people.
Yeah.
That happens.
Is you can't drown as a vampire. but going under intense pressure, it's going to do funny stuff to your body. And the Gangrel down here just let it happen. Just, well, Jimmy fell into the ocean and he fell too deep. We're just going to leave him. We're not going to bother with that. We're just going to leave it. So after all, they know that creepy stuff is at the bottom of the ocean too. There is no Gangrel that's swimming to the bottom of the ocean because they know that Lasombra and his freaks of nature from the abyss are waiting for them down there. They're not going to go that far down. Along with all the other mages and other creepy shit, and the demons are waiting for them down there. So, really, that's it. I mean, that's all there really is to the Marine Gangrel. They just exist, really. As for, is there a named character that we can use to kind of get an idea as to what they're like? Well, you got Machete Paul, who is this guy that lives in New York City, who jumps up and eats people, and then just dives back into the ocean. And the Camarilla just look at him and just send him off on his way when he shows up. The Sabbat are trying to kill him. The Sabbat swear that he's allied with the Camarilla, but he doesn't really care about either of them. He's just a guy who eats people, and that's it, really. That's essentially every Gangrel vampire summarized. the clan Gangrel in a nutshell. All right. What about something along the lines of I don't know, the Lasombra? You want to talk about the pirate subculture of Lasombra? You remember how I mentioned before at the start of this video how Lasombra Antediluvian was at the bottom of the ocean and he went around and just sank ships? The Lasombra hung around there because of the bloodbind. You're drawn to your Antediluvian before you cut your tie with them. And that just stuck with the Lasombra. You have this entire group of Lasombra that just go around in the ocean and believe that the deep secrets to obtenebration are in the ocean, and will occasionally dive down into the ocean to become one with the darkness, but they'll swim back up and they just go around on the ocean and they kill people, and that's it. That's it, really. And why do Lasombra care this much about the ocean? It's something that they control. That's why they're this big into it. The Ventrue don't control the ocean. This is my ocean, bitch. You don't get any of this. And also, the Lasombra control a lot of marine companies. If the Giovanni don't control it, the Lasombra do. Anything that comes in or out of your country through a dock, the Lasombra control it. Especially in South America, which might as well be completely controlled by the Lasombra. You know the whole term Banana Republic? You know what that means?
Yep.
The Lasombra are the ones that coined that idea, where we will make millions and billions of dollars off of selling bananas on boats, and this is how we will control the entirety of South America. But what population?
I only know that from whatchamacallit, Bloom Towers Defense 6.
And you were playing you played what was a game called Tropico, and you get to run up Banana Republic.
Yeah.
And with that kind of country, the Lasombra were working hand in hand with the CIA, controlling the entirety of South America for them, keeping all these dirty communists out. And in doing so, the Lasombra made mucho dinero down here. They have territory going all the way down from Argentina all the way up to Mexico. And they used to have a bunch of territory in Spain, but now their eyes are set on South America because that is their land. It's not their homeland, but it's theirs. It's something that they control. They also go around and they mess with world governments too, where in 1995 the Iranian government purchased 3 Kilo-class diesel-powered attack submarines from the Russian government, and in the middle of 1997, the Lasombra, just for shits and giggles, sank one of them. Imagine that, just the Lasombra just jumping into the ocean and summoning shadow spears and sinking a submarine that is controlled by the Iranian government. So yeah, there's just a bunch of assholes out in the middle of the sea that sink ships. Now, Ryan, do the Lasombra Anti-Tribute also do this?
There's a good chance.
Yes, they do. We have Camarilla Privateer Lasombra going around getting in fights with the Sabbat Lasombra, and you have vampire naval warfare in the middle of the ocean, where your average fleet is 12 ships, 3 vampirates per ship, and their ghouls, if the Lasombra chooses to have a ghoul. And they all have these heavy submachine guns, heavy machine guns, cannons that can shoot cannonballs, harpoons that shoot spears of fire, and all this shit that will cause rot Shrek. And you have 12 of these ships, so that's around 36 Lasombra on each side going into marine combat around the coast of Jamaica and the Dominican Republic. This is so awesome, dude. Like, for real. Oh, man, it's going to be so exciting to run a vampire game in the Caribbean. But not only that, but the Setites and the... I believe it is the... I might be wrong about this. Well, I'm not going to say it then if I'm wrong about it. But the Setites also have a lot of territory in this region too, and they will go out into the ocean and fight the Lasombra just so they can try to maintain land in the Caribbean. Oh man, is this as cool to you as anyone else? To me, this is just the fucking coolest shit in the world.
That's neat. It's definitely neat.
Let's see, I'm looking for this. I think it is. Looking at this. Yeah, oh yeah, I was right about it. It's the Assamites down here. So the Assamites are here too, dude. Because wherever the Setites go, the Assamites are after them trying to kill them. So you've got 1v1v1v1 down here with 4 different vampire crews. This is such a sick visual to me. And how much money does it cost to keep this operation going? Take a wild guess. Shane, you're big into finances, right? How much do you think this costs?
Let's
see.
I'm gonna say like 8 figures.
It is 8 figures. It's $47 million a year to maintain this operation in the Sabbat.
Wow.
Yeah, a crazy amount of money, right? And so the Camarilla just pays for everything. And then the Setites and Assamites also have their money. And there's a lore character in here too. I don't think he's that interesting, but he's worth talking about. Captain Klurst, where he's the first Lasombra anti-tribute buccaneer to go out. No, not buccaneer, privateer, that went out and was the guy that started the whole big war between the two sides of Lasombra and out in the middle of the ocean. He's good at his job. I do believe I think he's still alive. Yeah, he's still alive. He's got this giant crew with 80 ghouls on this 270-foot-long vessel he stole from the Coast Guard. And he's got Navy SEALs that he's ghouled that are covering all this for him. It's so stupid, but so cool at the same time. All right. Let's get back on track with Werewolf. You want to talk about werewolves? All right.
Always.
Let's get back on that.
Certainly.
Yeah, we've already talked about the Black Furies. We've already talked about the Bonars. How much territory do you think the Children of Gaia have out in the ocean? It's just throw it out there. Just how much do you think?
A shit ton.
Less than 30%?
0%. Because the Children of Gaia are all in the mainland doing hippie shit with all the people in America. They've abandoned the Mediterranean. They don't have anything in the Mediterranean anymore. They've all gone off to America. Like you had territory here and then you just gave it up to the Black Furies. You idiots. These guys had nothing until the 1960s. The Fianna. How much do you think they have?
A little.
Yeah.
Sailing overseas to America from the famine.
Telephone. They have...
that was me.
Yes.
I'm... it's on silent now.
They have Scotland, they have Ireland, and they have Wales, and that's it. They have little fishing villages along this place, too, and they live in places like Stranraer. Scotland sucked, but Stranraer was pretty cool. That's where they make curling stones. And you go over there, and it's these tiny communities where you've got about, 5, maybe 6 Fianna in each one, who are doing everything they can to stop the sea monsters from crawling up from the ocean around this area and attacking them. Because after all, the portal to hell, Malpheus, is in Scotland. They're doing everything they can to stop the Black Sparrows from destroying the world. So, yeah,
sorry.
The Fianna are very underappreciated down here. I think I like the Fianna more than I would like to admit. After all, how many World Darkness games have I put the Fianna in as NPCs? I think they've been in every single one. They have been in all my games. Yeah. So, yeah.
Every single one so far.
Yeah, every single one has had the Fianna in it. The Fenris. We already said the North Sea and the Baltic Sea is their territory. They consider that to be theirs. You can't own the ocean.
Don't. Sorry. That.
No, you make your joke.
No, one of their totems is a sea drake, right?
Yeah, sea drake.
And the Vikings were sailors, anyway.
They have this. The Fenris have a tradition where they go into the middle of the ocean and throw a man into the water, and a giant dragon comes up and eats him.
Yep.
It's awesome, isn't it, Grim? How many times have you done that, Grim?
Too many.
Too
Way
many.
too many.
Too many. Well, you don't get a kick out seeing the dragon come up and eat the man. You used to until you went soft and married Freya.
It's true.
Yep. All right. The
It's no fun anymore.
See, the Glasswalkers. Hong Kong, and that's it. Really,
big ships.
Yeah, they have a lot of ships, but they only ever use them for business. They're not interested in creating cairns in the middle of the ocean. Because after all, the Bonars already have this place, and at least the Glassworkers are respecting a part of the litany. Do not encroach on territory that's not your own.
I mean, I feel like Glassworker would have entire cruise ships, warships, maybe even an aircraft carrier to honor Clashing Boom Boom as a Karen.
Well, what they do have confirmed in the book is private yachts. They have a lot of yacht parties out in the middle of the ocean. Sounds like a fun time, right? Good way to...
Oh, right. That vessel in the Rokea comic was a Glasswalker one.
Mm-hmm. And who has no territory out here? The Red Talons have nothing. The Shellords have nothing. The Sunstars have nothing. The Silverfangs have nothing. The Stargazers? Are you shitting me? They're all in Tibet waiting to die. That's why the Philippines looks like shit, because the Stargazers aren't doing anything about it.
Honestly, I feel like the Silent Striders would literally be that one guy that just sails the ocean across the world.
That's it.
Just for the hell of it.
There it is. He's just in a motorboat by himself with the infinite fuel.
At the sailboat.
Yes. It's just a sailboat. He's doing it the hard way.
Yep.
Oh, man. How many days is he going to be out at sea for?
His entire life, he's just passing messages from coastal area
He's
to
going to have
coastal
a
area.
hell of a suntan, too. And as for the Actina and the Wendigo, name a territory in the Pacific. Just name a place in the Pacific. Just any place.
Puget Sound.
Yeah, because the Actina are there. The Actina have the entirety of the Pacific as their territory. You remember we brought that up in the Actina episode that instead of just sulking over their losses in South America, the Actina did something and became the Polynesian werewolf instead of the Native American werewolf. To the point where I associate them more with Polynesian culture than I do with Native American culture.
To be fair, they also have a river spirit?
Oh yeah, they do.
For their totem.
And
that gives them like water breathing.
Yeah, after all, like Actina helps them steer their ships around the island too. You have entire groups of Actina that do piracy and go out in the Pacific Ocean and raid Pentex ships and steal their stuff and then blow up the ship when they're done. It's awesome. And then the Wendigo are here too, but they hang around Newfoundland because they're making sure those crackers don't encroach on any more territory than they deserve. And that's it, really. And Craybirds they do bring up that the Fenris sailed across and were the first people to make contact with the werewolves of the new land. So, Fenris dub right here. You met the Wendigo 200 years before the Shellords did. And now we get to talk about the Rokea. All right. I love these guys. Yeah, I love to about these guys. So these guys are, once again, the last line of defense when it comes to the ocean. While everyone else is fighting the war on land, the Rokea are the only people in the ocean, making sure that the ocean is not corrupted by the worm. And are they by themselves? No, because you have the Rorqual with them. The fish people that were created by the wild. They're these gigantic... if I'm remembering this right, Ed, they're these gigantic whales the Rokea ride on into battle, like other giant seafaring creatures that like you remember how in Shark Tale they had the whale wash? No,
I don't.
Oh, you never watched Shark Tale? Well, I
don't think I did.
Yeah, well, you weren't missing out on anything either. That was a pretty bad movie. But it's a whale bust that a bunch of Rokea can fit inside the mouth of. That's how fucking big this whale is. I have other spirits helping them out too, like these manta ray spirits, dolphin spirits, just any sort of fish that has a bone in it. The wild has given it its blessing, and it's the wild is just giving the Rokea reinforcement after reinforcement after reinforcement their way. So they're not entirely alone because the wild itself has their back. And you might be wondering, all these girls are saying, well, where was the wild when the XYZ happened? The wild is doing stuff. He's in the ocean saving you from the apocalypse that could happen in the ocean, you ungrateful bastards. You know, put some respect on the wild's name, everybody. Can we get a round of applause for the wild, please?
As a glass talker, I have to refuse.
I don't know if that picked it up any.
In our comment section, can we get a praying hands emoji, please, for the wild? If I don't see that in the comments, I'm gonna get pissed. What else is going on here?
Don't worry, I'll do it.
So, what else is here helping out the Rokea? The Changelings. Now, there are 3 different groups of Changelings that are down here helping out the Rokea. Where, Shani, first of all, you have the Selkie, where the were it might as well be the were seal by this point, given that there's seals that take their skin off and then put it back on. It might as well just be like skin dancer seals at this point. But
I guess.
But you have 2 other groups as well, that being the Merfolk, who are your Kith version, and then the Murdhuacha, Murdhuacha. Sorry, I'm saying that I'm completely wrong on this. There's actually a pronunciation guide. Look at a pronunciation guide first, you dumbass. Okay. The Murdhuacha is their name. Sorry.
Yes. I actually wrote it down to the Murdhuacha.
Yeah.
Murdhuacha?
That's it. The Cucaracha, as they're down here helping out the Rokea. As it turns out, changelings from the Dreaming have the Rokea's back. Changing the Dreaming and Werewolf the Apocalypse might as well be the same game by this point. And take a wild guess, like, what kind of stuff is waiting for you down here for the Rokea to fight? Because after all, the worm is giving it his...
the squid people.
Yeah, the squid people. You've got all these different fish famori that we get to talk about in a minute. But the Rokea, how quickly are they reproducing, by the way? How quickly?
Kind of fast.
As we're going down here, the Rokea, of course, have a very simple litany that was eat, sleep, fight, fuck, basically. And they're populating, but after all, didn't they have a massive bomb dropped on top of them that killed 75% of them?
I think it turned like half of them to balefire sharks, actually.
Yeah, it blew up 50% of them. It corrupted the other 25%. And now the Rokea are in a desperate struggle to prevent the apocalypse from happening in the ocean. And on top of that, due to the atrophy of the changing seeds and and Gaia losing her power, the Rokea birth rate is beginning to dwindle, where now they're starting to have the same problem that the Guru Nation are having, where sometimes you do everything you're supposed to do right, but then your offspring just isn't a changing breed. They just never first change. And you don't know why that's the case, but they never do. So the Rokea are in a pretty dire strait at this point in the meta plot. The Macaulay are their only other ally, but the Macaulay can't really operate in the ocean the same way the Rokea can, because after all, one's a reptile, the other one's a fish. Go figure. Now the Macaulay do have some strong gifts, because after all, they have like the whole Storm Kingdom down in China, where they can send a hurricane your way, a typhoon, and they can help you out. But there's very little stuff that they can do to help the Rokea. So, put some respect on Rokea's name. The Rokea are doing a lot by themselves. How many times do you think the world's almost ended and the Rokea have been the one reason why we're still here today? Just take it.
Too many.
Yeah, just take. That number is probably way higher than we as Werewolf the Apocalypse fans want to admit. And the Rokea don't really keep a history, so we don't know how many times this have happened. But we'll just go on. We'll just say like the power scaling for the Rokea is huge, because there's a countless amount of times that they've prevented the apocalypse from happening. And they are... did they use weapons? Did they really? Because they have fetish weapons. They have fetish weapons like the Fang Dagger, and they have spears.
Spear.
And turtle shells. But usually they're just fighting with bare hands and their teeth at the end of the day. going off into Megalodon form,
I
Chasmus
thought we were
form, and
talking about the
Turnus.
Rokea, not the Garou.
Yep. Repeat that one more time.
I thought we were talking about the Rokea, not the Garou.
That's the mama's boys, the werewolf the apocalypse. When was the last time you saw a girl going off into the ocean to fight the worm? It's right, never. And
Exactly.
yeah, because it says as for other shape changers, really the ratkin. Oh yeah, it does say the ratkin here. You do have ratkin that will go on ships and just do pirate shit and terrorism shit, but that's it really. They have a gift called Spirit of the Fish, where they can use this to dive into the ocean and just go ahead and cause havoc, and the Rokea have to chase them out. And you do have the Ice Stalker girl that hang around in the Arctic Ocean, but they're too busy dealing with melting ice caps to help contribute to the war with the Rokea. So, what exactly does this war look like, do you think? Just take a wild guess, because we all know what the wormish version of what the marine version of the worm is, right? Quirrell. And
Squirrel?
yeah, no, Qyrl, Quirrell.
Oh,
Yeah.
Quirrell.
And if you remember the story right, didn't Quirrell steal the Weaver's magic pearl that basically gave her dominion over all human life?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Rokea don't want your help to begin with either, because the Rokea believe that all of you have lost your minds because the worm controls the pearl that controls your mind. So we can't rely on you for anything. This is a fight that only we can shoulder, only we can solve it, and that's why the Rokea are so prickly. I want to love you, Rokea. I want to go over. I want to help you in this fight, but you're just so weird. You're weird. Weird with why, because you've been spent too much time talking to the wild. But where do you think most of this fight is taking place too? Where would be the big battleground for the Rokea? What ocean do you think needs it the most? Just
The biggest one.
yeah, the biggest one. Well,
I would say the one around Australia
you are right about that. Where Polynesia is where most of the war is
or
taking place.
China.
Yep. So Polynesia and Southeast Asia is where the Rokea are heading off to, because I don't know, it's a shithole. We just looked up pictures as to what the Ganges and the oceans of the Philippines look like. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done down here. So, Gaia bless these men, right? But let's put a pin and talk about the Rokea. We'll talk about their friends, their fairy friends in a minute. Deep magic. Now, is there a seafaring mage in this book? Do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Not really, but you do get the occasional technocrat that wants to go ahead and make the ocean their base, where you need to have at least 2 points in matter to have an oxygen tank that can survive being that deep in the water, along with a base that can survive the pressure. Or you could just use life 3 and just give yourself gills and swim in the water. Though that might be the reality deviance, and the technocracy control might not appreciate that. But you can do that. You can be a technocrat that just lives out here. Though the traditions, you don't really have people like the Celestial Chorus and Euthanatos hanging around here because they're too busy dealing with human society, and the virtual adepts don't have a server room in the ocean. So the only group that really has skin in the game here are, like, not even the Verbena hang around here too. Like, they just tend to hang around the coast, and that's it. Where the mage tradition that has 5 points in life doesn't do anything with the ocean. Are you shitting me still? This book has been pretty good so far, but I think that's just still a massive missed opportunity. So really, the Order of Hermes is the only group that has a massive interest in the ocean. Because I'm not entirely sure, in all honesty. Like, the book itself says the Order of Hermes, interesting enough, have plenty of scholarly interest in the seas, and then they don't go into detail about their interest in the sea. So you just have hermetics in the ocean, and that's it, really. I don't know, maybe there's something in Tradition Book Hermes, but we have to read Tradition Book Hermes, and that's going to be a 14-day endeavor to get through that book. Now, the Dream Speakers do pop up again, where you know the rule, wherever the antenna go, the dream speakers are right behind them, because the dream speakers might as well be the antenna by this point. Yeah, you've got them all over Polynesia, where just imagine all the nodes waiting for you to harvest magic and quintessence from in Polynesia, and you'll have the antenna at your back helping defend you as you collect from these nodes. And once again, the Society of Ether are here because they're actually trying to build Rapture. They want a city at the bottom of the ocean just for the sake of building a city at the bottom of the ocean. And that's it with that, really. This book kind of bounces around the place, as you notice. So there are groups of mages that are in the ocean, but there's no dedicated sea mage like there is with anyone else. You might also be asking, what about the Marauders? If there was a sea mage, this would be them, because you do have mages that believe that I am the Flying Dutchman and I have a spirit ship that's flying around in the bottom of the ocean, as you do with every Marauder who's summoning birthday cakes that fire lasers and have wings. But we'll leave the Marauders alone. But just the Marauders can be the Marauders off on their own. And now we can talk about the friends of the Changelings. So the mermaids and the merfolk and the Murdhuacha. Let's get into them. All right, Shani, I left these pages with you. Do you like these guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
From what I've read, yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Because in the whole plot, like the whole skin of Changing to Dreaming, they don't really have that much to do with events like the Accordance War or anything like that. They're just kind of off on their own, where you have this entire meta plot that's going on beneath the ocean, where it feels like you could have like an entire like Ebony Kingdom or Kingdom of Jade kind of plot, but just in the ocean itself, where just expand the ocean as a setting. But we never really got that, did we? Well, before we get into detail about the merfolk themselves, they have friends, the Hern crabs, where they are these giant crabs with 5 points in strength, 6 points in dexterity, and armor values that are going around at the bottom of the ocean. It's a giant enemy crab from Japan that goes around, hates it when you're in his area, and he crushes you to death with his claws. And that's it, really. So, behold, I'm so happy we have these friendly crabs with us that makes it almost impossible for us to invade Japan. All right. So, Shani, what can you tell us about the merfolk?
Okay, starting with the merfolk, I've separated them in 3 different categories, as well as the Murdhuacha.
Yeah.
Versus general, they tend to mate with their own kind, like the Rokea.
Yes.
And they claim to be the sole legacy of the Tuatha De Danann, just the oldest Fae on Earth, or so they say.
Oh, so they say. Yeah, I beg to differ about that.
Okay. The society is matriarchal. They take their glamour from the sea. The Rokea bring them dream stuff to their coral cities, which to us and other like non-ocean people look like coral reefs.
Yeah, that's right. They're directly collaborating with the wild itself by that point.
Yes. They worship an entity called Vatea, claim to have created the merfolk and all life and give them Absare, their fish spirits.
Yes.
The Absara of a changeling determines his or her house and social standing. As far as they look, the merfolk are beautiful in a way that is alien and seductive, that inspires lust rather than awe. They tend to be green, blue, or silver in color, although those with reef-dwelling Absare tend to be brightly colored.
Mm-hmm.
Their sexual organs aren't fully external. When on land, their tails split into legs that are still scaled, and they're still colored.
Yeah.
And while in human form, they're tall, muscular, and hairless, not including the hair on their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Their lifestyle, they're very arrogant, and they're massive sluts. Just casual sex is normal to them.
So you combine the
hey,
she
you're
and
hot. Let's have sex.
you combine the she and the satyr, and you get the merfolk.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Mm-hmm.
They love art. They create undersea masterpieces. They live carefree lives, but they can be serious when the time comes.
Mm.
And they're all, most of them are mainly warriors.
And in terms of the relationship, the land-based Kith, well, the nobles in their own, they consider themselves nobles. They don't really deal with the Shi. The Shi can go off and play by themselves. They've got better stuff to do. The aquatic puka, it's cool that they exist, but nobody likes the puka, considering that these guys are mirthful tricksters that just irritate the shit out of you, and that's what they're known for. The Selkies, they're cool. After all, they're trying to help preserve the ocean. So you got a friend in me, am I right? But they're not really sure where they stand with the Selkies as people. It's cool that they're helping out, but they don't really talk with the Selkies that much. They have a common goal, but they're not the friendliest of friends, so to speak. The Meninhue. The Island Kiths, they're cool, but they're not super close. They're cool. They're close to the sea. They respect the sea, but they walk on land. So you have your space and we have our space. And then there was what are they here? The water babies. If I'm right, these are special. This is an offshoot of the Meninhue, where they've heard rumors about them, but they don't think they're real. And every sort of Kith they don't really have any contact with. It's their relationships in a nutshell. And what kind of weaknesses and strengths do they have? Their birthrights, where the merfolk apsaras, or their fish spirits. You of course have all these fish spirits helping you out. You have all these special dolphin spirits, giant shark spirits, manta spirits helping you out. They all have gills so they can breathe underwater. And they're also super beauty. No merfolk can botch an appearance roll. And they gain an extra dot in appearance upon character creation. So you put your dots in appearance first, and then the extra dot comes in. So yes, at character creation, you could, after freebie points, you could have 6 dots in appearance with a merfolk. After all, Shani, you remember the stories of the sirens from Greek myth?
Yes.
Where there are these super sexy women that have fishtails, and they sing songs and then lure you to your death. I'd say it's more on the lines of unseelie merfolk, but yes, it's that kind of alley with them. But what 2 weaknesses do they have? First is the coldness. Banality is devastating to the Shi. It is sheer death for a merfolk. A merfolk's as their glamour decreases, they find it harder and harder to breathe until they reach 0 in glamour. You do not want to run out of glamour. You do not want to max out your temporary banality with these guys, because all of a sudden you will suffocate in water. Your gills will just cease to work as a merfolk. Unless you're out of touch, you have no points in Streetwise, Drive, Firearms, or Computers upon character creation, and you cannot put into any points in these until you start putting experience points into them. I think you can put free points into it, but nothing upon character creation. So maybe you're a merfolk where somebody dropped an iPhone into the water, and then you picked up the iPhone and you figured out how it's supposed to work. Or you picked up a gun and you're basically like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. We're just collecting stuff people dropped in the ocean.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
Once you say my collection's complete. And then there are not so pleasant cousins, the Maruka. Or Marucha.
The Marucha!
All right, let's go into
Okay,
this, guys.
same deal. I separated these guys into different categories.
Yeah.
Overall, they're cunning and intelligent, but live in a bestial society.
Yeah.
And they they also have a rival. What I found interesting was they have a rivalry with the Rokea.
Yeah.
And because the Marrow, what they're called, are dreams of Dagon, who the Rokea refer to as Coral, or the worm.
Yes.
And how they came to be says Dagon mixed the foam from the sea with a piece of the sky from his mouth and created the first marrow egg.
Mm-hmm.
The Merfolk's god, didn't like this and sent his children to change the myriads and grottos and created the Merfolk. and they've been fighting ever since.
Yeah. So they have a wormish origin, you're saying?
Yes, according to the book.
And what's scary about this is that Dagon is a major character in Demon of Fallen. So is it that Dagon that they're talking about? Who knows? Because after all,
Could be.
Because after all, a lot of demons have stolen Dagon's name to try to use it as clout. So yeah, your mileage may vary as to how much you can take some of this lore seriously when it comes to Demon of Fallen. But either way, they're creepy fish people at the end of the day.
Yeah, according to how they look like, the females can be pretty, but the males are just ugly.
Yeah.
And their Absare come from squids, octopi, and lobsters, so their tails tend to have tentacles and lobster tails.
And are they evil?
I wouldn't say they're evil. What I read, they're not necessarily evil. They just give into their own natures a lot.
Where they're not necessarily of the worm. They're like cut from the same cloth that the worm came from, but they don't venerate the worm because, after all, changelings aren't familiar with the terms weaver word and wild. They don't really know what this is supposed to be. And as for the relationship with the Rokea, I imagine it's not very good. Because when you get into mechanics of changing to dreaming, you have the lane, where these are quote-unquote evil versions of the Kith, where, like, for example, with the Knockers, you have goblins instead, where you do the same thing, but just one is more inclined to join the Shadow Court than the other one is, or become Dantean. And with these guys, these are the quote-unquote evil version of the Merfolk, the Thelaine version of the Merfolk, but they're not exactly out to destroy the world or anything like that. They're just jerks at the end of the day, fair to say. And what kind of benefits you get from playing one? First of all, you get an Absare as well. You get like a giant lobster or octopus companion. You get the gills, and you also get this ability called Pelagic Nightmare. The Murdhuacha are horrendous as the Merfolk are beautiful. Even the better-looking Murdhuacha are still a bizarre mix of human and cephalopod, jellyfish, or some other creature like that. Anyone who looks upon a Mero for the first time must make a willpower roll or be frozen in shock for one turn. So, behold, you get a free round of combat if that check fails. I imagine that's fun if you're doing a very combat-heavy game. Well, you still have the same, for the most part, frailties as the Merfolk. You have Out of Touch, where once again, no streetwise drive firearms or computers. But then you also have the Coldness, where banality kills you just as quickly. So, yeah, you're basically like the same. You're two sides of the same coin. As for relationships, land-based Kith, I can't imagine any of these are good. The damn Merfolk are right. We do need their help, but they're not going to go for it anytime soon. They'd rather do things their way. The Chronic Puka, food. You eat them. That's your relationship with them. The Selkies, they can't really decide what they think about the Selkies. Are they with the ocean or not with the ocean? Do they like being on the land more, or do they like being on the water more? They don't really know what to do with the Selkies, so you don't really interact with them. The Meninhoi, well, they used to have a good relationship with them, but thanks to unexplained history, the relationship between the two fell apart, and now they just go around and look for the Meninhoi so they can kill them and eat them, as they do with just about everyone else they talk to. The water babies, yeah, they're laughing because the Merfolk don't know that the water babies exist, but they know they exist, and they're not going to tell the Merfolk that they exist so they can have the babies all for themselves, try to get them on their side. And other prodigals, you take a wild guess as to what we've described about the Murdhuacha. No, they don't have a good relationship with anyone else. And behold, that's your crazy Kith for you. We can bring these guys up again when we eventually talk about the Selkies, but we'll leave it here for now as regards to the Merfolk. And yes, we encourage you to play as the Merfolk. They have houses too, don't they, Shani? Where
they do.
Okay.
They're referred to as arts.
Yeah, but they have House Lorelei.
Houses.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I did not get that part.
Where I can go off of this, where House Lorelei, you know, like the Legend of Lorelei already, don't you?
No.
Where these are very vain, narcissistic merfolk. They're very creative. They're very independent. Just think of like noble dripping in just absolute decadence. That's what House Lorelei is all about. Though these guys do fight with weapons and are very good with it. They have mastered the art of fighting underwater with a sword and with a trident. And if anyone thinks of the word soldier, you tend to think of these guys. They're very strong, but they are a little hard to work with because anyone that tries learning their fighting style is going up a creek without a paddle, where they have this very weird way of swinging swords. It's like confusion food. If a Lorelei comes at you with a sword, they're swinging it around like crazy. You have no idea what to follow. So they're very dangerous in combat because you can't predict their movements or what they're going to do to you. You have no idea what part of your body they're going to lop off. Your boons is that you gain a point and brawl, melee, or dodge for free, along with getting a by attack that deals +1 strength, +1 strength and damage. Your flaw is that our Lorelei, regardless of how docile your apsaras might be, you're prone to going frenzy and immediately into frenzy at the smell of blood. You frenzy like a shark, essentially. House Melusine. The smallest and least trusted of the houses. Melusine, if you remember, has a connection to the King Arthur story. So I'm automatically into these guys. As for what they are, going into detail about the Melusine. Give me just a minute. Gotta clear my throat. Now that's some good content right there. These guys are sneaks. They tend to go native, so to speak. They're spies, go around, sneak up on people. You know, like legends or ghost stories about fish people that pop their heads out of the water and then quickly peek them back down. They're doing this. They're bioarchivists. They're historians. They're collecting knowledge and hoarding it for whatever reason House Melusine might be up to in the meta plot of Changing the Dreaming. As for their boon, Melusine Fae are more in touch with society than the Landwalkers. You're allowed to take their forbidden skills without restriction, but the House Melusine must also breathe air. They're almost mammals in design. The Melusine must surface every 6 hours to get in a full breath of air before going back underwater. Fun, right? You're dolphin people, ultimately. Next up is House Syrinx, where they call themselves the true chosen of Vatea. They look at their water god that they believe created them, which is just basically Danu but with gills, and they say that, oh, we are the ones that she loves the most. They look like lionfish, they look like swordfish, they look like seahorses, and they are extremely pompous when you talk to them. They're very capricious. They will turn on you at just a moment's notice. They want to do things their way and only their way. They will never compromise with anybody. They steer ships into stones for fun because they think human suffering is funny. They're almost supervillains in a way when you think about it. No, I think they just straight are supervillains at the end of the day. And really what they do is that they just go around being what they believe as mirthful and just mischievous, when really what you're doing is the same dickheadery that the Puka are known for. Their boons, House Syrinx are more regal than other merfolk. Your roles involving, say, charisma and survival to exert influence. You may control creatures that you normally couldn't control with their ability to just naturally command and be natural leaders. As for your flaw, more than any other merfolk, the members of House Syrinx will need water. As Syrinx loses 1 willpower point for every day that she does not spend at least 1 hour in water. It is almost impossible for you to have a land-based game. Ryan, you remember the Lokatha in D&D? And the sheer amount of fun that would come with playing a Lokatha in your party. This is what you got right here. This is your Lokatha party. Ryan didn't snooze on me, did you? I don't know. I think
no. I muted myself
there we
by
go.
accident.
But yeah, you remember the pain and suffering that comes with playing a Lokatha.
I've never played one because I've never been allowed to play one.
Of course, because no GM wants to put up with having your character spend 1 hour in water. Nobody wants to do that.
That and Grung.
The Grung, I've seen people allow the Grung, and like you get like disadvantage on your skill checks if you don't spend like an hour in water every 4 hours. You can live with it, but you know you die if you're the Lakatha.
Dude, do you know how badly I want to play a Grung in a game, and everyone's like, "No." I'm like, why?
What the like? I had a DM that let me play a Lakatha. What the fuck?
Come on.
Also,
They're fun.
Also, in terms of changing stuff, this is the book that introduced Aphrodisia, Skycraft, and Cryos into this book. Now, save up on time. We're not going to go too into detail with this. I do want to talk about Aphrodisia when we talk about the Satyr. But, Ryan, with a name like Aphrodisia, what do you think that power does? Take a wild guess.
Get you horny.
It makes you horny, indeed. All right, moving on. Cryos. What does that power do?
Oh, it's ice powers.
It is ice powers. And Skycraft, what is that?
They can create storms.
Exactly.
Yeah, or
Lightning
you
and
write
stuff
words
like
in the
that.
sky.
You can do that too. We can like use your finger to make writing with the clouds. Though nobody in the Merfolk is ever going to do that. Only the land-based Kith do that. So in case you ever encounter a Merfolk or a Murdhuacha in your game, every single one of them will have a combination of those three. I almost called them disciplines. Those 3 arts. And yes, these guys do work hand in hand with the Rokea. The Merfolk more so than the Murdhuacha. The Murdhuacha would only ever do so in desperation if, say, Quarrel was ever threatening to destroy them. It's more like, say, Batman teaming up with Catwoman. You only ever do it when you have a situation where you will lose if you don't team up with the Murdhuacha. As for the treasures, new treasures like mermaid's milk. So the mermaid's milk is.
Can you explain that one?
Well, yes, it is indeed the breast milk of a mermaid, and if you drink it, it will give you a point of glamour. Awesome. Well, this game just got sexy. Okay, okay. Let's talk about something that's a little bit more serious. You want to talk about the Mer Trident?
Yes. Can I go over it, please?
Yes, you go over it.
It's a level 2 treasure.
Yep.
It's made of coral. It's used by both the Merfolk and the Murdhuacha.
Yes.
It's used as a spear with difficulty 6 to use, strength plus 3 dice of damage. And there's a difference between the ones the Merfolk use and the one the Marrow uses.
Mm-hmm.
The Mer variants grant an extra die to melee dice pools, and the Marrow variant leaves a pus-filled wound scuttled with tiny crabs.
Mm-hmm. So
that one's a lot more devastating.
Mm-hmm. And there we go. And let's talk about the craziest one of all, the Coral Comb. This was discovered by a land-based group of Nosferatu that picked up and had no idea what it did. And it comes from Murdhuacha origin, where the Murdhuacha immediately stormed the ocean to try to get the same back. The Coral Comb has the ability to comb away the hideousness, like leaves and sticks from hair. And it sounds like that's it, but if you roll a charisma and expression to activate the comb, you may then expend a point of permanent glamour. That is hard to come across. That is a big ask. And in doing so, looking at this, you may spend a point of glamour and exchange it into points of appearance. So if you want to be pretty as a Murdhuacha, you can do so with this comb, but at what cost? That's a pretty steep cost, isn't it? And you can't go above 5 points in willpower with this. 5 points in appearance with this. So, Shani, do we think that's worth it? Because I'm telling you, and we're playing Changing to Dreaming on Sundays, and my players are left starved for glamour because of just how hard glamour is to come across. If you want to spend enough time into dreaming for you to get a point of glamour, you also get a point of nightmare along with that. That will cause you to lose your mind. So,
just to look pretty?
Yeah, so I don't think this is worth being level 5. I don't think it's worth taking.
Yeah.
That's too steep of a cost. And now we go into our bonus segment. You want to talk about, I don't know, the Fomori waiting for you here? And,
Yep.
and I know you've been
Why
waiting for this
not?
segment.
Yep, and the Chulor Via.
All right, you tell me about the Chulorpia. So,
Imagine the worm has vicissitude, except it's squid flavored. So
Ooh,
human
squid
beings
flavor.
get squid like, and squids get human like.
there it is. And can he do that to other people?
Yes.
Yes. So behold, that's
And-
what the Kraken disease does to you.
Yep. The Krakenborn is what they're referred to as, and then folded are basically the people that get turned
Mm.
into those like squid people or squid features. Imagine having like suckers on your arms and stuff like that. That's what the Project Deepwater is
Yeah.
being run by and taken over by.
Mm.
There's also the different splats of them.
Yes.
The one I linked in the notes is the Petyrannos.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a puppeteer squid about the size of a baby's head that latches onto your
yeah,
neck.
there's this nasty picture in this book too. There's this nasty picture of it like attached to a man's spinal cord.
Yep.
Here, let me see if
And it says they're generally about the size of a baby's skull.
Hey, Ryan, I sent this to you. Let's see if I can pull this up. I found it. Yeah.
Just look at its stat block
Yeah.
for intelligence and manipulation.
Let's see. Is it on the same page as the spine-sucking squid?
Let me double check. I put it in the studio
That
note.
was nasty. I'm looking at something here. Like, what'd you say? I'm seeing abilities right now.
Yeah, it's the next page up is the stat block.
Because let me see this. Freaking
Manipulation 7, intelligence 6.
Let's see. Pull this up. Open this in new browser. Okay, what is this? Why is it this smart? What's gotta be this smart for?
Remember you saying that intelligence 5 is basically smartest person on the planet level?
Yeah.
Uh,
This is the.
it basically it latches onto your skull from the back, puts brain tentacles, and basically takes over your body by wrapping them around your brainstem.
And it gets smarter in doing so. That's not how this works. You don't put two brains together and get smarter. But they do it anyway.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But for the stat block, it just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
I would say that because your brain naturally limits how much you can do, your muscle strength by about
Yeah. You
2/3.
can only use 10% of your muscle strength.
30%.
No, 30%. Yeah.
So it mentions they absolutely love the idea of taking over the bodies of vampires or werewolves.
Yeah.
And if you're a werewolf or a vampire, guess what? The reason your brain doesn't let you do that full 100% muscle strength is because you damage the muscles.
Well,
The thing is, if you regenerate like a vampire or a werewolf, you can push that body all the way. So effectively, you could have 3 times strength.
Yeah.
You should decide to do that as a storyteller and use it as a boss.
so this is essentially the intellect devourer from D&D.
Yep.
Is what this
But better.
This thing does. Is that looking at this? You gotta make a willpower roll difficulty 7. And just
Yep.
this thing just constantly bothering you and pestering you about this shit.
It's in complete control.
Yeah,
You can't do anything but watch through whatever it makes you look at.
Yeah, I'll just say, just go ahead and kill me if this thing was attached to me.
That's actually in the splat text.
Yeah.
Literally says most people, when they get control, they kill themselves.
And how do you de-squid yourself, if that's possible?
Surgery.
Surgery, brain surgery.
Yep.
Yeah,
It also says you might be able to pull it off, but generally it comes away with chunks of your brain and brainstem in its tentacles.
Yeah. And how much brain damage will I get from this removal?
Probably lethal if you don't do surgery.
And how many days will I survive after the surgery?
Depends how well it goes.
There it
The
is.
thing might decide to just snap your brainstem itself as it's getting removed.
Let's see. Now you mentioned balefire sharks before. I got poison sharks. Let me go over poison sharks. with
Those
you.
are just regular sharks that are Bamori.
But he's poisonous.
Yep.
Is it venomous or is it poisonous? It's poisonous.
Venomous.
Yep. It says here if you bite into the shark, it poisons you.
Why would? What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's
right, yes.
who's going out hunting and biting the shark?
werewolves?
Rokea.
See,
Rokea.
does sharks give each other another hello bite with each other? See,
The Marine Gangrel,
yeah, this.
they're going
Dinky
after the
sharks.
shark.
Well, you can't poison a vampire. It's just what?
Did you see the picture of the shark on page 103?
103. I think I'm looking at page 103 right now. Yeah. Let me pull up for the viewers at home.
That little shark that goes from 3 feet in length turns into one that's the size of a city bus.
Yeah. This picture right here. Yeah, there it is. Everybody that did artwork on this book did such a good job. Why are you poisonous, not venomous? This doesn't make any sense. Put some snake fangs on this mouth. Put some snake.
Because anything you bite just dies.
No. If it's poisonous, if you bite it, you die.
Right, but it just kills you instantly with its bite,
Yeah.
regardless.
Well,
So it's just
given how large this
superfluous.
thing is in comparison to this man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember, Rokea would be like 2 or 3 times the size of that man.
There it is. Well, you don't want to bite this thing. You want to stab it with the King Triton Trident. I'm saying the Father Worm shut the bed with this design. We could have made it more practical for Mori. What else is up here? The Diving Dead. Ooh, I like this little paragraph here too. You get these like little like small paragraph short stories with these from Mori in this book too. Is how creepy all these are. Where the Diving Dead, as you can read at home, are human Fomori who have been opened to possess toxic banes in service of Lady Yule, the most disgusting woman to ever live, and that you just go and sit in the water and you poison it. And it's what you do. You can't drink water that's got like dead people in it. In fact, we have a picture of these guys. Let's see, let's go ahead. I think I have a picture of every Fomori in this book. You know, here you go. Here's your Diving Dead for you right here. He's got fucking fish lips. Where you dive into the water and essentially you're just a zombie that's going around. Your very presence pollutes the water. You're going around killing things. You're this poisonous zombie in the ocean, so to speak, with a measly 7 levels of health. Let's talk about the stat buckets and that. Well, these guys are meant to be can fodder anyway. We don't need to worry too much about them.
Yep.
There it is. Let's see here. OBS has not crept on me yet. Let's see. Who else is next? What are these guys called again? Baneland Praise. No, the Baneland Praise. Ryan, you ever had a leech before?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so have I. And how fun is it to remove that thing?
Very.
Yeah. Is you gotta take the end of a lit cigarette and press it against the leech and it'll let go if you do that.
Lampreys are
What do you
even
mean?
worse.
You just dig your pinky in and pull it out that way.
Yeah. It's
Leeches just make a cut in you and then inject anticoagulants to keep blood flowing.
yes.
A lamprey doesn't do that. It just bites on with rows upon rows of teeth, and it has a sensor tongue with teeth on it that it uses to continuously scrape away flesh to keep you bleeding.
Dracula, don't
That's far
suck.
worse.
Dracula, scrape and lick.
Yep.
Is that what's going on with this? Now,
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah, you usually refer to vampires as leeches. Now we got the actual leech right here, with that perfect cookie cutter mouth. And that's essentially what he does. He's this giant guy that will go and look for the Rorqual so he can bite onto them and start sucking the blood out of them. There's this description on the screen for everybody at home.
Oh god, that just reminds me the puppeteer squid actually like latching onto large marine life.
Yep.
We weaponize them.
Yep. But we're glad they're not that big.
But imagine you're a group of sharks inside of one of those whale transports that gets taken over and then rushes into like a cliff face and dies with you inside.
And then let's talk about the genes. You remember the guys that the Technocracy is building for the Pentex? The genes people.
Technically, it's Pentex for the Technocracy.
Let's see, Pentex. Well, why is the Technocracy buying something from Pentex? These guys make nothing but shit.
Because they thought they were paradox immune, which they are, but that's because they weren't using mage technology. Pentex pulled a fast one on the Technocracy. They're actually just for Mori.
This is just for Mori. So you sold me snake oil is what you did.
Yep, they made for Mori Merfolk, without the Merfolk being involved in it.
These are just the Murdhuacha, but just shittier in every way.
I love selling snake oil.
Yeah, there it is. Ryan, how much did you scam that man out of last week?
A couple $100,000.
Yeah, there it is. You gotta keep the bonar hustle alive, right?
Yeah.
There it is.
And I immediately lost it because of my ban.
Say, I sold you a shitty fish man, and I told you he was paradox moved, and it turns out he was just demon possessed. And that was it. That's your lore on that. All right, what else is here? You want to talk about the gigantic squid?
Yep.
All right. So it
Those
is.
are the ones the technocracy refused to believe exist so far.
Well, there's a technocrat being devoured by one as we speak.
Yep.
There it is. So who's the idiot here? Who's the stooge?
The technocracy.
Yeah. And look at this stab, like, by the way, like 8 strength, 3 dexterity, 10 stamina, no points in anything else because you don't need that. 5 points of willpower, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 levels of health.
Yep.
And it's how
Remember,
much-
those puppeteer squids could attach themselves to it.
and
Now
that
you have something with intelligence of 6 attacking you.
and then that bite damages deals a minimum of 10 damage when it bites you. So if you don't get at least 4 successes on that soak roll, that thing's just going to kill you in one shot.
Yep, it's strength plus 2. Minimum strength is 8, max 10,
What
so it's 12.
the fuck? 10 points in intimidation? Does it need that much? I mean, just look at it. Is that, oh, that's the eye. Oh, I get the picture now.
Yep.
There it is. So there he is. He's just being devoured. You stooge is what you get for saying that this stuff doesn't exist. You're just lying to yourself, democracy. Okay, what else is there? Let's talk about one more crazy thing. I think. Let's see. Let me pull up this page. We don't have a picture for this, but you want to talk about the Enfolded?
Oh, we
Sure.
just did. That's first rank of the true lore.
Oh, right, the Innsmouth people. Ryan, did you ever read or hear about Shadow over Innsmouth?
No.
It is this really cool H.P. Lovecraft story where it's this guy who goes to this town called Innsmouth and finds all these like half human, half fish people, and then he finds out he has genetic roots to Innsmouth, and then he like slowly starts turning into a fish the longer he spends time there.
Huh.
Yeah. See, what is this? What is this thing called again, Eden? This thing that's like the little black leech with these thorns coming out of it?
The what?
Yeah.
Leech?
Yeah, the very last monster in this book. Trump.
That's not in the book, actually.
See, that's not in the book.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, so when I go back in here, I go into Chulorvian Elder. Oh, you're right. That has nothing to do with that picture.
Yep.
Well, what is
Just
this thing,
generic
then?
worm stuff.
Oh, so that's what the Banes look like.
Maybe.
Yeah, there it is. It
Looks similar to a mind worm from the Rokea book.
There it is. Okay, I thought that worm was connected in this like big convoluted. Like I thought he was burning the tail on him. So there we go. They look like the rods, like the rod cryptid. Well, I'm looking at this Trulovian Elder, and he doesn't actually look that tough, really. He's got 9 points in strength, but 9 points in dexterity. Yeah, but not as many health levels as I was expecting. He's got stats similar to a thunderworm, but he's not as strong as a thunderworm.
Well, remember the main fighting force would be either the cannon fodder Enfolded or the puppeted the creatures, the Petrinos puppet.
And this guy's supposed to be
like
the guy
Garu,
delegating the war
vampires.
effort, but really you could just go over and fold this man in a single punch.
Generally, anything the cannon fodder can't take care of, they just get a giant whale or a giant shark to take over and do it for them.
Mm-hmm. So it is.
Maybe if on land, like a shape changer.
It sounds like the Rokea got a bunch of stuff coming their way.
Yep.
And there we go. Is there anything else to talk about in this book? You want to talk about mechanics?
The infection portion.
Oh, the infection portion.
Which, yeah.
Tell us about the infection.
So, like I mentioned, it's kind of like vicissitude. And basically, vampires, it's really nasty because they've regenerated a bunch. They can essentially become carriers unless they drain all their blood points through using disciplines.
Yes.
And basically, they can infect all their ghouls who will turn into Enfolded rapidly. So, like within a day or two. Shape changers lose a point of gnosis every day they are infected until they can do a rite of cleansing.
Yes.
Mages have to roll willpower.
Yes.
I think to resist it, but otherwise, if you're human, you're screwed.
All right.
Changelings lose their face spirit if they get
Oh,
infected.
that sucks.
Yep.
So
if they fail their willpower rolls.
that's just a game over. Oh no, that makes them daunting if that happens.
Yep.
All right, and now for the mechanics. Grim and Shenny, do you want to know how to swim underwater?
With your arms
So it's
and legs. Very important.
What's very helpful about this book is that it gives you a direct equation as to what your swim speed would be like, and it's based off your athletics score. Depending on how many points you have in athletics decides how many meters per turn you swim, which is about, and if I'm remembering right, these World Darkness games was like 1 or 2 hexagons was a meter, maybe 3.
I believe so, because that's about the size of a person.
So with athletics 0 to athletics 2, you get 1 meter per turn, and then with you can do a strength roll, and your multiplier will multiply by 2. That will add on to your strength score based off how many points you have in athletics, and that can increase your meters per turn. But then at strength 3, you get your strength score divided by 2 meters per turn, and then 4 strength score divided by 2 again, and then at 5 points of athletics, you just get your strength score and your base speed as to how many meters per turn you can swim. So as a Garu, you got no issue swimming, but as a vampire that isn't a Marine Gangrel or a mage, that's going to be a problem. Until you start.
I'd like to point out the sprint speed is 1 meter a turn at 0, but otherwise it starts scaling with strength plus a value per turn.
Yeah, based off of multiplying by 2. Until you get to 4 points in athletics, which is strength plus 9, and then 5 is strength plus 12.
5 plus. And that means that giant squid, you aren't going to outswim it because it has strength 10.
Well, given how large it is and given how long those tentacles are, but I wasn't expected to. And along with it,
at least this system makes sense for like the giant whales the Rokea ride around in, because with this scaling, they actually move really fast.
Along with it, you have diving mechanics where you have, of course, you need to go ahead and you need to breathe and you need to resupply oxygen, where it gives away how many. Let's see, look at this. Most characters require a supply of oxygen to survive. Divers must carry their own supplies with them. Self-contained scuba diver tanks. Divers who do not intend to go more than half a meter below the surface of water can do so with their snorkels and systems. And those who must go deeper than 300 must do so wearing a wet diving exoskeleton, rigid suit. It gives you how long you'll be able to sustain yourself in each environment, where if you're going 40 meters in depth, it's 4 hours you can spend down there. See, maximum dive duration being 4 hours. 11 past that. Hang on a minute, I think. This fucking text. I'm trying to zoom in this. Sorry, I said 40 meters. I'm sorry, I'll like to make a retraction. 0 to 10 meters, you can spend around 4 hours in that depth. 11 to 30, it's 30 minutes. 31 to 50, it's 10 minutes. 51 to 150, it's 10 meters, but you need to start making successes on rolls for that. And then, if I'm remembering this, that's right, is a strength roll you have to do.
That's just for swimming.
Yeah, no, for diving.
Yeah.
Because I believe
Doesn't give one.
Let's see, because I'm gonna say, check the next page. I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. So yeah, it'll just be a strength roll in that case. No, I see it. Stamina plus athletics.
That's for treading water.
Yeah. See, so I'll just say it's going to be.
That's for floating.
See, I'll just say it's a strength roll, like for you to be able to sustain that kind of pressure on you. Throat's starting to go. Shit. And then
I'd also like to point out that if you're going past 30 feet, you actually need real life special blends of oxygen with low nitrogen.
Oh yes.
Otherwise, you're going to get nitrogen narcosis, which is really bad.
And then if you want to go down 115 feet or 300 meters, 151 meters or 300 meters, that is 5 minutes you can stand down there per strength success that you roll. And you can only stay down there at that length for 30 minutes before you have to get out of that water. As for what else we've got in terms of mechanics, See, yeah, we just went over what treading water would be in floating, which is stamina plus athletics for that role. And you remember that there was a certain totem in World of the Apocalypse called Otter that lets you just do this infinitely?
Yep.
It's once again, I'm thinking the Children of Gaia. Why don't they have more marine stuff like that when they have that as a totem in Pegasus's brood? It was just silly to me. Hold on. Oh man, I am right about this. It is stamina athletics for the diving roll. There is it's both that for treading water and for floating, where it's difficulty 7 for diving, it's difficulty 5 for floating. Alright. And you also have a fatigue system, where anytime you've been swimming strenuously for at least one round, you also have to make a stamina plus athletics roll, difficulty 7. Failing the roll will give you a point of fatigue, where it will be it'll slowly accumulate, where it'll start giving you penalties on your rolls. Up to 3 dice will be missing, and you need to swim up to the surface of the water and float in order to get that fatigue off of you. And what kind of sicknesses can you get down to water? Well, seasickness, basic unpleasantness, hypothermia, along with a few mechanics for that, but I honestly don't think it's that interesting or that important enough for us to go over that. What is important? Nitrogen narcosis, you brought that up earlier, and there's mechanics for that. Where it says nitrogen narcosis may be overcome by ascending 15 meters or more, where you're swimming with the wrong kind of oxygen, and this will last for about 15 to 60 minutes, and it mimics
That's the onset.
Yeah, and it mimics alcohol intoxication when you get this. And it says if you want a frenzy, your difficulty to frenzy while you're suffering from nitrogen narcosis is frenzy plus 1 difficulty. Well, it would usually
To resist.
To resist frenzy, yes. And,
-1 to enter.
Yeah. And then decompression sickness. Now this is nasty, isn't it? Where this has got a chance to be fatal, where decompression sickness, commonly referred to as the bends, is caused by a rapid ascent and decompression after a diver has already breathed compressed air containing nitrogen. It's caused from you rising to the water too quickly from this. And
Yep. So there's a diminishing return in terms of air supply. The longer you're diving in, the deeper, the longer you have to take to actually ascend, and sometimes it's much as I think it's 1 minute down, 3 minutes going up.
Yeah.
At some cases. So at certain points, companies will actually just have diving bells or living quarters. They actually compress to the depth they want their divers to work at, lower that into the water, and then release the divers from it. But otherwise, bring it up to the surface to resupply it with airlocks.
And with this too, it's described as a blood boiling feeling you get from decompression sickness. Mechanically, to survive decompression sickness, you will lose 1 level of health, with it being considered lethal damage, per round, unless you can consistently make at least 1 success on a willpower roll, difficulty 8, to prevent yourself from dying from this.
It's basically a blood embolism. That's what it is. So, if you ever had heard of stroke, where it's like a clot, blood embolism can be the same thing, except with an air bubble blocking flow through your brain, or it could be in your muscles, your organs, etc.
And oxygen toxicity, where what causes this? The deeper the diver goes down, the higher concentration of oxygen you'll need to breathe air. Oxygen toxicity occurs when a diver breathes too high of a concentration of oxygen for depths at which he is operating, which will start causing you to suffer rolls. Every roll you make while you're suffering from oxygen poisoning will be made at +1 difficulty. And if you want to overcome this, you have to be off of that oxygen for 30 minutes. And
For the first stage.
Yep. And now we can talk about the depth sweats. So what this is, vampires don't need to breathe air. That are still susceptible to certain problems at high pressure, such as decompression sickness. In addition, kindred who descend past 300 meters in depth experience a gradual dissolution of the blood as water pressure forces your blood out of your body. For every 10 minutes that a vampire spends below 300 meters in depth, she loses 1 blood point. This loss is faintly visible, but eventually your blood will slowly get squeezed and squeezed and squeezed out of you until you just enter into torpor, and good luck coming out of that. Because once you fall into water, the Marine Gangrel that watch you fall down do not care about you once you do. And with you being in torpor, it leaves you perfectly susceptible for whatever, say, Fomori's spirit or Abyssal spirit is waiting for you at the bottom of the water to jump into your body and then start puppeting you around. Fun stuff, right?
Yep.
And
well, technically, according to the rules listed here, Lasombra's in torpor if he's at the bottom.
well, Lasombra is a physical god, so your mileage may vary with that. Hopefully he's in torpor. I mean, that'll be great for all of us if he is, and he just stays that way forever. But close combat. How do you fight underwater with a melee roll? All blowing attacks have to attack your strength, and your potent score is also halved if you're using potence, for a purpose of determining damage dice. And in addition, the resistance of water slows your strikes, so all your dodge rolls made against blowing attacks are made at 1 difficulty. 1 difficulty to avoid a brawl attack. Ryan, can you imagine that combat encounter going down? Where, how many times are you going to swing and miss at an enemy, try and desperately to hit them?
Oh, with my luck,
Yeah.
a lot.
And
Too many.
let's see. And oh, sorry, did I say 1 difficulty? I said -1 difficulty. Sorry. So, it's not ludicrous, but it's going to take you a long time before you finally land a killing blow against an enemy. Melee attacks are also impaired. All attacks with blunt melee weapons have their damage dice pools reduced by 3 dice. Though slashing damage only lose 2, and stabbing weapons only lose 1. Thrown weapons, well, you're throwing a weapon underwater. If it's not a harpoon or a spear, forget it. And ranged combat, any firearm attack made from above water against a target underwater is made at +2 difficulty, as the water is displacing your aim. In addition, all bullets lose 1 die of damage for every 1 meter of water they descend. It is quite easy for scuba divers to catch bullets in her hand after somebody tries to shoot them at them. Well, now I want to look up a video of a scuba diver doing just that. Most modern-day firearms use sealed cartridges that are more effective than waterproof, at least for short terms. However, firing a gun underwater is a chancy proposition. Semi-automatic weapons can cycle the next round into a firing chamber by using either gas or the previous bullet's firing of the recoil to go off of that. But if you're using a fully automatic weapon, it will more than likely jam. Underwater jam requires a successful wits plus firearms roll, difficulty 6, to see if you can unjam the weapon. And it takes 3 actions for you to unjam your weapon underwater. If a character fires a burst of fully auto under here, the storyteller rolls 1 dice for each bullet fired. So you don't deal the full damage value for your automatic weapon. It's just you only get 10 damage dice for gunshot, and that's it. You're wasting your bullets if you're flying fully automatic underwater. Just go ahead and fire semi-auto. And explosions. Your explosion size is reduced by 50%. Easy as that. So, behold, those are some nice mechanics for us. Easy to understand, right? Zip. Ryan, you think you're confident in fighting a werewolf underwater now?
Yes.
And really, that's it when it comes to Blood and Tides. We did have to cut down on some stuff just for the sake of time, so we're not going super long with this episode, but really, this book is fantastic. There's just so much good stuff in it, and Ryan, in all honesty, I'm sold on the idea of making an underwater campaign. I just gotta find the time to do it.
I think we need to update 3.5e with all these new traits and Fomori powers.
Yeah, you want to make 3.5 the water version?
Now we just have to add these powers to the Fomori chart.
Yep. I'm thinking about too, like, well, why don't we just make like Rokea the game by this point? I know I've thought about that, just giving Rokea all this love, but
Good.
but yeah, just
I'm down with that.
yeah, just Blood and Tides. Ryan, would you be enthusiastic for playing an underwater game? Know what you know about this?
Absolutely.
Shani, same with you. Just play,
Yes.
yeah, it's playing a water game. And Ed and I know you're enthusiastic to play any werewolf game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's the name of that movie where they like find aliens underwater on like an exploration rig, and then like the SEALs go crazy with the nuke?
Oh, I was thinking of Critical Depth, but that's a PS1 game.
Oh no, this was a movie.
I'm trying to think
Like-
about.
Like, I'm just thinking that would be the setting of the campaign, just the general premise of things breaking down, people going crazy underwater.
Or if you want to
Then you
combine,
just add in the supernatural and
Well-
then creatures as well.
wasn't White Wolf making an alien game called Exile at some point? Where
I don't know.
I know that White Wolf was making an alien game at some point, but they ran out of money and they never got past concept art. But yeah, imagine getting more convoluted. You put aliens in the World of Darkness.
I mean, they were in the Storyteller's Guide
Yeah.
examining Garu.
Yeah, like you had the Vajunka, but then that's as far as
It
it
would-
really went.
It would be called Alien: The Invasion.
Yeah, that would be a good name. Ryan, you are on the money with that. There it is. And, shall we? Do you have any other thoughts about this, or is this good enough for an episode?
This is a really good episode.
Yeah.
This book.
Well, thank you, Shani. I'm glad you enjoyed this because, yeah, I'm going to say if you're having any sort of game that's taking place next to the coast, if you're on some sort of coastal town, like a beach town or an island, I'm going to say this is almost essential reading. Well, no, this is essential reading for that kind of game. And it's just all the information that was missing for the Rokea book sold in this book. That's the hustle with the tabletop RPG business. You take information out of a book, you put in another book, and then you sell it for the same price. Behold. Well, I'm glad.
Honestly, I really like the body stealing squid / octopus concept.
I'll have to art in this book. I'm going to see if I can get Jeff Rebner's contact information. That's it for this episode. GN.
Good night.
All right, GN, everybody. I'm stopping recording in 5, 4, 3, 2.